What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Pokemon Rants. A true passion and love for Pokemon is easy to see in others. And when you combine your passion with your career, magical things start to unfold in front of you each step along the path. Chris at Weedles Warehouse is a man on a path of new heights. Starting part time while running a full time pharmacy, he quickly realized his passion and new career path. With an initial push from our beloved Professor Oak, now blossomed into one of the top eBay live sellers, giving old school Pokemon a run for his money. Now, I'm no medical professional, but it may be wise for us to take a prescription from Weedle Success and apply it to our own lives. So, with no copay needed, go ahead and pick up that prescription and let's jump on in and start the journey. Chris, welcome to Pokemon Wonder.
Thank you so much for having me on, man. Quite the intro there. Very well done. Appreciate you having me on. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you, all of you guys, for joining us tonight. Sorry for that little bit of a delay. Very, very sorry, but glad to be here. Very, very glad to be hanging out, talking with you, and yeah, I'm excited, man.
Let's do it, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us, and I do appreciate the patience on us working out some technical details. Sometimes it just happens, so appreciate it, man. So, Chris, do us the favor, man. How'd you get started? Where's your intro and birth of Pokemon that kicked you off on this journey where you're at today, man?
Yeah, it's only been a few years actually since I actually got back into the TCG aspect of Pokemon. I got back into Pokemon Go, so that obviously was 2016 when that came back around.
Yeah.
Started out as a kid, started with baseball cards, a little bit of Pokemon cards. It was primarily baseball cards, but I do remember, I mean, as a kid going back to base set, a lot of my friends were more so into Pokemon. I was more like baseball, but I did have a few Pokemon cards. But I do recall back at like base set, Jungle, and Fossil, all of those releases. So bringing it back around to more like the modern era, I got back into Pokemon Go in 2016, and I assume that just that activity on my phone is what led to I don't know, so randomly after interacting with Pokemon Go for a bit and browsing YouTube, I started getting fed a lot of Pokemon content on YouTube. And so that's how I kind of got back into it. I didn't really get into the TCG aspect even in 2016. It wasn't until around late 2020 that I actually started to get back into the TCG. I started getting way more into the Pokemon content on YouTube, and I was really interested in Hidden Fates, so that ended up being like my first gateway Pokemon set back into the hobby. So once I got that ETB, which at the time was I was like $140 ETB, which is pretty crazy. The first ETB I ever bought to open Pokemon cards from was like $140. Like, I don't know why I did that. Like, I don't know what drew me in, but I could say it's one of the best decisions I've ever made, because I was hook, line, and sinker after opening that first ETB, man. I just super captivated by all those shiny full arts. I remember I hit a Jesse and James full art trainer, a Gardevoir GX full art shiny, and I don't know, just brought me back to the childhood. Brought me back to just ripping packs in general. It was an awesome experience, and then kind of carried that forward and continued to watch the Pokemon content on YouTube. And I don't know, man. I look back and think about like all the steps along the way, and it's definitely been a journey. I can't really connect all of the dots. I know there's a lot of different content creators out there that I can thank for just contributing little bits and pieces along the way, but it's been a fun ride for sure.
Well, that's probably the best $140 you've ever spent.
100%.
At least close to it. Well, good, man. I mean, so you had a little bit of an exposure as a child, just enough to know that you wanted to pick it back up when you saw something that sparked your interest. Give it up to a little bit of a, Google and YouTube sneaking the algorithm in on you, and next thing you know, that's it. You're here with us today. Let me
Yeah.
guess. Was it some Dan and some old school Pokemon that got you hooked in the beginning? Is that who it was?
I actually started out on Danny Phantom. He,
Okay.
I started watching a lot of his content, and he started me out on the content of just like what sets are good sets. Him and Twice Baked
Mm,
Jake, I
right.
started out watching, and then he
Okay.
actually like it was a really quick process actually. So I started watching Danny Phantom, and I got really into the cards. I really quickly became to distinguish like the different sets that were good, the different sets that I were interested in. But then
Mm,
Danny at the time, of course, he's not really putting out this sort of content anymore, but he was really heavily pushing out content that was centered around building a Pokemon business. And he went over a lot of like
mm,
the
okay.
fundamentals of like how to get started with starting a business and LLC, and then like getting started with your TCG selling journey on
Mm,
TCG Player. So
yeah.
that's how I got into TCG Player. Started selling the cards that I had been collecting for almost a year at that point, and
Okay.
yeah, that's kind of how I got into like the whole business. Started a business at that point, and then just like after that, I caught on pretty quickly to Dan. After getting into like the business aspect, I started watching a lot of his content. So that was pretty early on. And then SM Pratt, I also
Yeah.
I picked up a lot of his content as well, just to like learn more
Mhm.
about collecting, about the different cards from Japan. Wasn't really interested in Japan Japanese cards at first, but after watching a lot of SM Pratt content, I don't know, I kind of developed a passion for Japanese cards on my own, and I consumed a lot of his content right off the bat. I mean, just learned about a lot of the exclusive promos, and
Right.
I don't know. He has a really good. He's really good at bringing awareness to like the different illustrators within the cards. Kind of like I don't know, makes it brings them to life. I don't, so to speak. And so I don't know. I just picked up and was interested in a lot of his content, and so him and Danny Phantom, and then I don't know, couple others like right away, and then it kind of
Okay.
transitioned into I think it was like Professor Oak. He was pretty early on. He
So,
started his Discord. Of course, it's been, I don't know how long. It was probably about like 3 years now or so. But I
right.
was one of the first people in his Discord. I picked up on his channel, and I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Just like I said, like the little bits of information that you glean from like the different creators along the way. I was thinking about this the other day, just thinking about like all the different little pieces that I picked from each one, and kind of created my own way of going about it. But I don't know. There's a lot of others that I can think of that helped me get to where I am today, and I'll get into those eventually.
Yeah. And it's good too because Professor Oak is also who got you started making videos, if I'm not mistaken. So that little
Yeah,
nudge in the
it was.
beginning was, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so he was one of the ones that kind of like pushed out. He was pushing some of the people on the Discord just to like
Hmm.
take the step and like create go ahead and make your first video. I was like,
Yeah.
man, I don't I have no idea what I'm doing, as further evidenced with this podcast right here. I still don't know what I'm doing, but at the time I really didn't know what I was
Yeah.
doing. So I just kind of went with what he was saying and put my first video out there, and yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of content on YouTube, but I mean, I credit my first one and like actually getting started to Professor Oak. So shout out
Yeah.
Professor Oak.
Yeah. Much love to Professor Oak, man. He's a good dude. Really glad to have him in the hobby.
Oh yeah.
So, Chris, this takes us to kind of how you got into your area of Pokemon. But as we mentioned in the intro, your background, at least originally, was in pharmacy. Did that take you from high school and college in directly into pharmacy, or is it you just kind of found that into a stumbling step along the path?
You mean how did I get into pharmacy,
Yeah,
like in general, or yeah,
yeah.
so
Was
it
that
started
something
out
you went to school for?
in high school, yeah. I was really I leaned more towards like the sciences, chemistry. Those are the subjects that I
Hmm.
kind of excelled in. One of my
Okay.
chemistry teachers at the time kind of gave me like a nudge in the direction of healthcare. And I just kind of went with that. I was walking through the hall of my high school one day, and he like pulled me aside and he was like, "Hey, just want to let you know you did really well on your test. I used your test to grade all the rest of the classes." And I don't really
That's
know
good.
why he did that, because I didn't really even do that well on the test, and I wasn't even really like a straight A student or anything. I
Mm,
was like a B, A and B student, mostly Bs, but I don't know. There's something about that interaction that he was just like willing to put that confidence in me and like kind of just like push me and give me that little
mm,
nudge of encouragement. And I kind of went with that and started thinking about a career, something in healthcare related. He also mentioned, I don't know, just having I don't know, being more inclined to like chemistry and things like that might push me in the healthcare field. So I kind of ran with that, and I don't know, things kind of fell into place. Doors were opened, and I eventually did a visit to the college that I ended up going to in Birmingham, Alabama, and
okay.
ended up just going for the pre pharmacy as my undergrad degree, and then ended up going to pharmacy school right after that.
Okay.
So ended up staying in there for about 6 years before coming back to Tampa, Florida.
Okay. All right. So that got you through the educational path. And it's quite interesting because it's those little, as you put it, interactions with certain people that just change the entire trajectory of our lives. And whether he was telling you the truth or not about using your test for everybody else's test, it gave you exactly what you needed to hear. And that probably was the more important part of that moment.
Exactly.
So you ended up getting a job. Was it at like a Walgreens, or was it something more serious? Where did you end up running a pharmacy at?
Yeah, I started out while I was in pharmacy school. I was working in retail pharmacy at CVS at the
Mhm.
time. When
Okay.
I graduated, I started out as a pharmacy manager after I moved back to Tampa, because I'd already been with the
Yep.
company for a few years. I already knew how their system worked and everything like that. And well, I started out floating as like a staff pharmacist, and then they promoted me to manager pretty quickly, like a couple months after I moved back down into Tampa. But yeah, working as a pharmacist for about 10 years, I mean, I think it helped give me the education that I need, not only, I mean, as obviously as a pharmacist, but to run a business, to
Mm,
lead a team of individuals. I mean, of course, I don't lead a
right.
team right now, but just running a
Yes.
business in general, keeping up with like the financial aspects, being accountable for like the profit and loss report, learning how to like run a profit and loss report, and just keeping up with the different aspects. Once I once I decided to go with Pokemon as like a full time gig, I feel like, I don't know. I had a lot of like, there's a lot of
Growth pains.
similarities and a lot of differences with like running a pharmacy as compared to like running a TCG business. You know, pharmacy, you're in a real rush, so to speak, to get all of those all the medications that you have on hand. You're kind of in a rush to like get them out the door, because they all have an expiration on them, and
Shelf life. Yeah.
anything that expires is going to get chalked up to shrink. So I noticed pretty quickly that if you run in a TCG business, like, it's so different, because it's not necessarily a bad thing if your inventory goes
Ages. Yeah.
bad, or if you hold on to it for a couple years. In fact,
Right.
it might
Can
even
be good.
like be to your advantage if you're actually able to hold on to it for 3 years.
Exactly.
You're not going to chalk it up to waste. You're going to chalk it up to a moonshot.
Profits. Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Enroll Scarlet and Violet, just to be our example right here. But yeah, exactly. So looking at that though, I mean, you obviously transferred a lot of skills over, but I didn't realize that the pharmacies ran their own P&L separate from CVS as a whole.
Oh
It's an
yeah.
independent P&L. Okay,
Oh yeah.
okay. Good. I mean, that definitely did give you the experience. And as I was saying when you were speaking, I said you may not run a team of people yet. Just wait. Just wait. We'll see where these new heights take you. We'll maybe unfold some of that here today. So it did make a big transition, and we're already here. So let's just go ahead and go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Um, what were you doing during the pharmacy time? I mean, you mentioned getting into Pokemon, buying that $140, Hidden Fates booster box, or I should say ETB. But at what point were you actually saying, you know what, I might actually start to make some money here. Let me start to transition at some point, maybe even into Pokemon as a full time job. How did that become a realization through this process?
It was about 2 years after I started my online TCG business. I started an
Mm,
LLC. I'm gonna try and, like, I think of things, like, on a timeline, so we're in 2024 now. I started my LLC in 2021, June of 2021,
okay.
and, so, yeah, about 2 years after
Mm,
starting the LLC, I had already done a good bit of sales primarily through eBay, also with Shopify, with, TCG Player and Mercari. I got an English distributor pretty quickly getting an LLC, or like starting my LLC, and actually got a Japanese supplier pretty quickly after
mm,
starting my LLC. And funny enough, I got the information on how to get a Japanese supplier and how to get a English distributor. I just watching YouTube, going down rabbit holes on YouTube and listening to what all these content creators are talking about on these sorts of podcasts. And so yeah, got a Japanese supplier, got an English supplier, and then 2 years later, just looking at my eBay sales and comparing it to like my income that I
mm.
did as a pharmacist, I just reached a point where I was like, well, what am I doing? I mean, a retail pharmacist, I mean, I'm pretty much just like running a register. Why don't I just run a register from home? And
Mm,
so, I mean, I ended up making a choice to, like, I eventually wanted to do this full time, so kind of made it a point to, like, begin to go ahead and, like, save up enough money to give me, like, enough of a runway to where I could
mm.
actually quit working at full time as a pharmacist and carry it over and start working full time, just running my business. So
Did you have a lot of growth paths in pharmacy? Like, so, hey, I can move up and be a director of a region. I can move up and be a VP of this. I mean, was there a lot of different areas that you could have moved into, or were you already kind of tapping yourself out, and that's why you were like, you know what, let me just look elsewhere?
there are definitely areas that I could move into, but if I were to get promoted, the next one would have been like a district manager. That would have been
Yeah.
more of like a business administration role than it was a role as
Mm,
a pharmacist or a healthcare provider. So
yeah.
I kind of
Back
knew
in the business.
pretty quickly that I didn't really want to move up the ladder, so to speak. I didn't really have any
Mhm.
interest in any sort of business administration. I mean, yeah, so I kind of figured I was either a pharmacist or running my own business at that point.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and when you start to see the numbers, level out or even tip the scales a little bit on the other side, this is looking pretty good. I have a lot more fun over here.
Oh yeah,
Before we
yeah.
go a little bit more into detail, let me just give a quick respect here to the chat. I haven't done so just yet. I want to make sure I don't forget anybody here. Just want to say thanks to everybody for joining in one more time. Really appreciate everybody stopping by. We had iFOMO dropping in really early in the game. We got Zard lurking in the house as well. We got Pigeon Gamer. Appreciate you stopping by, Pigeon. I think you're relatively new, at least to my channel, so I appreciate you swinging by. We got Navi Station in here as well. Always good to see you, Navi, my man. Scrolling through here, we had quite a while. We got Skater Ernesto. He probably dipped out, but appreciate you stopping by, Skater. It's always good to see you too, buddy. And then we had a few that stopped by. I didn't recognize his name. We had Shayna Smith. Appreciate you stopping by, Ms. Smith.
Oh yeah,
And
Songbird Shannon. So a lot of these names I recognize. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through this chat over here myself. But yeah, Songbird
this is
Shannon's
from your live.
another eBay live
Yeah.
streamer. Shout out
Uh,
PTC, part time collector, and
No, oh,
Pigeon
that's
Gamer.
part-time
Both of
collecting?
them.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, both of
Okay.
them. And then everybody else, appreciate all you guys. Thank you all so
Yeah,
much for even
appreciate it,
coming out and
guys.
joining us. Shout out to all you guys. You said Ernie. I'm trying to scroll down here and notice a couple other
Yeah,
names. myself. Pokey Shep, what's up, man? Appreciate you joining
Yeah,
us
Chef
tonight.
in the house.
That's one that I
Marshall's in the house
recognize.
too. Thanks for stopping
Shiny
by, Marshall.
Outpost, what's going on, man? Good to see you tonight as well. Tennis
We
Wolf,
got
what's going
Mason.
on, man?
Yeah. Mason's in the
Mason,
house too.
wow, we got a
Oh,
lot.
Ernie
Oh,
gifted
Thrifty,
some
peace,
memberships. I missed that. Thanks, Ernie. I appreciate that, man. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Dropping some gifted memberships in the house. Brad G cards. Good to see you,
Brad
Brad.
G,
Youngster
Uncle
Ryan. We
BB,
got Ray in the house.
Ray, where's
They
Ray?
were lurking. They were lurking.
Oh, okay.
Got Lauren Carson back in the house as well. Good to see you again, Lauren. BB's in here. Fat Belly Collects. Nice. Got the whole gang in here. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate stopping by. So taking it back, my man. So you decided to make the jumped all into Pokemon. Talk to us a little bit about that, because that's a huge decision. And obviously, you mentioned it very lightly, but you gave yourself a little bit of runway. So that gave you a little bit of a safety net. But I mean, that conversation, first of all, let's start with the one with your wife. So, hey, sweetheart, you know what? I know I went to school, went to college, got this career, working on it, but I'm going to quit that. I'm going to do Pokemon cards. What do you think, sweetheart? What was that conversation like? I'm sure it went down exactly like that, right?
It's still crazy to even wrap my head around, man. She was kind of weird about it at first, but then I started showing her some of the sales from like eBay, and she was a little bit more on board after that. So kind of wondering whether or not we'd be able to supplement the income with just car or like sales, like eBay sales and all the other websites, like all the other sales channels. So I don't know. I showed her that, gave her a little bit of reassurance, and I don't know. She's amazing. So she's always been really, really supportive, and she just knew that working as a pharmacist, how it affected me, like coming home from work every day and not necessarily enjoying the work that I put in. And she always saw that how happy I was when running the Pokemon business, like waking up at 6 a.m. before I go into work to work a 12-hour shift, and actually enjoying just like shipping out orders before I had to go in to punch the clock and be kind of miserable throughout that 12-hour shift. So I don't know. I communicated with her a lot about it, and she knew where my heart was at when she knew that it was. I mean, just the things that made me happy were really based on the business that I was running, as far as selling cards, as opposed to running a pharmacy. So she was really supportive at that point, and I mean, it all worked out.
Glad to hear it, man. Yeah, to have those, we all have a great partner on our side that's always supporting us in the background, and to have that really makes all the difference. Anything else would just make this journey a lot more challenging. So a shout out to all the wives and all the supporters that we have. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What does she do for a living, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, she's a paralegal.
Okay. So as Dan would say, you got a sugar mama. So that's all right. It works out.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to
absolutely.
say teacher for a minute, because typically it's going to be teacher is going to be the default, sugar mama for all of the PokeTubers. So,
Yeah,
I
she is
figured.
actually she's working on getting her to be certified as a teacher. So that is
I
something
knew
that she's working towards, but as of right now, she's a paralegal.
it. I love it. Spicy Boy's in the house too. I support Weedles Warehouse on his way to monopolize the hobby. I'm telling you, he's going to give old school Pokemon a run for his money, man. He's bringing them up, knocking them
I don't
down.
I don't know about that. But yeah, shout out Spicy Boys. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's Skater Nesto, but we're talking about people like along the way that kind of gave you a little nudge. And I don't think Ernesto would even I don't know if he would admit it, but he's definitely one of the people that gave me a little nudge along the way when I was thinking about, or just like going over ideas with him, like just discussing like ideas of like content creation, and like telling him like, man, I don't have a camera, I don't have a mic, and him just sitting there just like, dummy, get yourself a mic, get yourself a camera. and he kind of like showed me like he gave me a link to like different videos and like how to get the whole setup going. So I actually owe a good bit to Ernie as well. Really appreciate it
That's awesome.
for him giving me a nudge. And it's pretty crazy. Yeah, like I said, thinking about there's a lot of different people and within the hobby, within the space that gave me a little nudge or maybe just like a little bit of information, like a little bit of
Right.
information goes a long way. I remember an episode of Pokeflips podcast with Dan Ketchum Collectibles and Nick OSP, where I got this little piece of information for my eBay store, and it was like just to go into your settings for your listings and make sure that the inventory quantity when it goes to 0, make sure it stays active. So there's a setting that you can set in your
Mm,
eBay store for that, and that's super super important if you are selling boxes of cards. Obviously you're going to be getting more boxes in from your distributor and you want that listing to stay
mm.
active. So all you have to do is go in and click onto the inventory quantity, and it has a sales history. So
Add
that's
that
already
inventory.
immediately getting fed out to many, many more people. I can actually pull up
Mm,
on my eBay sales history page, like the month that I found out about that piece of information, and my sales were about $30,000 higher than the previous month. And that was, it was
wow.
really a result of me finding out about that information and using it because a set of
Mm,
Dragon Ball Super Realm of the Gods had just released, and I used that for the first time on that listing. And I got like 3 or 4 different shipments in from my distributor. If you take a look back at the sales, it was like all the sales for that month were all in that one set. And I don't think they would have been that high if I didn't have that little bit of information that I caught from Pokeflips podcast. So little bits of information like that. I mean, Dan is obviously someone I've looked up to for a long, long time in the hobby. Him, on his own channel and on Pokeflips podcast. There's just so
yeah.
much information that you can get from just watching those.
The amount, especially, I mean, I can go back sometimes and watch these things 2 or 3 times and still pick up pieces and like, oh, I missed that the first time. And just the ear that you have, what is it? The teacher or the student will be taught when he's ready, right? So it's just listening to that every time and hearing something that's slightly different depending on what your experience was at the time. So yeah, but I love that piece of the story too with Skate Ernesto. That's good to hear. It's always nice when those little moments happen, just to kind of get us over the hump because we kind of get stuck. And to that exact point you were speaking to, the camera, the mic, I can't start. I need these things, and just having somebody just kick your ass just a little bit, just to kind of get you over the hump, and that's exactly what you needed, right? Yeah, I love it.
Exactly, man.
So what transitioned you then into the eBay Labs? Because June seems to be like a special time for you. So you started your business in June 23. You'll have your 1 year anniversary this year, full time that is.
Mhm.
But then you also kicked off your eBay Live around that time, right? So
Yeah.
what kind of encouraged you to jump into the lives? Because you were doing Whatnot for 2 years prior to that, or at least an overlap. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I started out with Whatnot, streaming just from my little iPhone
Mm,
camera, but I was still working full-time job, so it would only be like
okay.
maybe 1 or 2 streams per week. And just like big releases, I started when VMAX Climax came out, which was a high class Japanese set, super, super popular. So I already had a Japanese supplier at the time. And man, I was able
Mm,
to get VMAX Climax boxes for like $48 per box. So they were
nice.
going for like 120 on Whatnot. So I got a few cases in and I just ran my phone, just went live, and they were selling just insanely high. So figured right away that Whatnot was a really big opportunity. So I just carried on with the efforts and Whatnot, and not only with the high class Japanese sets, but each individual English set release, I made it a point to use that sales channel as well. When
Mm,
I increased my orders for my pre-orders for my English distributors, and each of the English set releases, I would do a lot of pack breaks, especially when those sets drop. So I did that for about up until January of 2023. So V Star Universe was the last set that I ripped on Whatnot, And then that was kind of when all of the big companies started bringing in really big multiple streamers and kind of taking over
Okay.
the market share for Whatnot, all of the viewership. So I noticed like my
Mm,
viewer count starting to decline pretty
drop
rapidly,
off.
and
Okay.
I knew it was something that if I was going to keep up, I would have had to been doing it on a daily basis, and that sort of consistency was something I could not be doing at the time because of my full
Yeah.
time job. So I just I set Whatnot to the side and just made it a point to do like eBay sales instead, and then sales on my website, and then up until June of 2023. So I had found out that eBay was starting to do a live platform, and I don't know, right away, I just realized I haven't really realized anything yet, but I just thought about the potential for what that platform could be if it was something that could eventually evolve into something that had like the user interface of Whatnot, but also the reach that eBay has
Right.
with its user base, its capability of going shipping international orders. I don't know. There's a lot of things that came into play that really led me to believe that it was just a tremendous, tremendous opportunity to even be able to get onboarded. So I forget how it kind of came about. I know I was talking with somebody at eBay at the time, and just kind of mentioned it because somebody had put a bug in my ear that,
Mm.
oh, eBay's getting a new live platform, and I kind of mentioned it, and they're like, oh yeah, we are getting a new eBay live platform. Would you be interested? And I was just like, oh yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And so I ended up
Sign me
getting
up.
onboarded like pretty only like 3 weeks after 3 or 4 weeks after Nick OSP got onboarded. And then that right about that time, my job, I mean, I was doing just fine with my job as a pharmacist, but kind of decided that I had already built myself enough runway as far as sales, as far as like savings, as far as like investments in my long-term retirement accounts and things like that to just to go ahead and quit my full-time job as a pharmacist and see how it's going to go as a full-time business owner slash TCG retailer. So that's
Love it,
where
man.
kind of where I'm at now. We're seeing how it's going to go. I've got my license as a pharmacist still. It's still active. I renew that
Okay.
every 2 years. So in the event that
Keep it there just in case you need
things go
it.
super super south,
Yeah. It won't
might have to
hurt. Won't
bring it
hurt.
back, but hopefully it doesn't get to that point. And I don't see it getting to that point, but you never know.
And but dive a little deeper though, because eBay Lives and what little I know about the process, but it's like doing a box break, but times 10 or times 100. And the preparation, the sourcing of the inventory, the streaming itself, the packing of orders, the entire process it's a lot. Like that's a lot to do. And I think when you first kicked it off, you were doing 5 days a week. Is that right? When you first
It was
started doing eBay Lives?
it was probably more like 3 or 4 days a week with the
Okay.
eBay lives. Pretty much the same that I'm doing now. But actually, no,
Okay.
yeah, it was more like I actually did start off a little bit more rigorous. It was
I thought
yeah,
you were
probably like
heavy in the beginning. Yeah.
yeah, it was more like yeah, probably like 5 days a week.
Yeah. And then you started moving to every other day, and you kind of did some sales analysis. So, I'm getting about the same money. It's not worth the extra effort you're putting in, but nonetheless, you're still doing a lot in preparation before and after. So you really didn't need the day to kind of prepare and close and ship orders to get ready for the next one. Do you see this being sustainable for you in terms of the eBay Live portion of your business? Do you think that's going to scale back a little bit? Are you going to scale it up? How do you see it given where you are? Because you're heading into a year pretty soon.
Yeah. So, I mean, do I see it being sustainable? So, there's nothing that's led me to think otherwise that it wouldn't be sustainable. But the only thing I can say is, I mean, anytime you're running a business, you got to be prepared to make changes along the way. I mean, those of us that are going to be successful when things get rough, or those of us that are going to be able to adapt. That's what
Mm,
this process has been about. For the whole 3 or 4 years that I've been doing it so far. It's constantly adapting to the newest way to get sales going. and there's always going to be ways within even live streaming that you're going to be able to adapt to get things, to keep things refreshed, to keep
Mm,
things innovative, and to increase your sales channels. And man, even today, I just learned two insanely new things that I'm going to be able to integrate into my live streaming. That's going to help just grow the live stream, the amount of people that are going to be able to view the live stream. And yeah, so I'm still confident that it'll be sustainable over time, but we'll
okay.
see how it goes. If it's something ends up ends up not working out as I thought it would, there's several different other streaming platforms. There's always the opportunity to even just go with YouTube. I do have my own
Mm,
Shopify store. I could at any point I could just start promoting my YouTube channel and use that as a sales stream instead of the eBay Live platform.
right.
But I do appreciate the level of seller protection that you get when you're kind of under that eBay umbrella. And a lot of times when things go south with like a faulty buyer, then you're actually covered with
Yeah,
those sort of transactions. And there's a lot of headache that you mitigate when you're under that eBay umbrella. And if I were out on my own
true.
doing like eBay or just YouTube streams trying to sell through YouTube and my Shopify store, I wouldn't necessarily have that sort of coverage, I don't think. But yeah,
No, you definitely
I
don't.
think it would be sustainable. So yeah, in conclusion, I think it would be it is something that it's going to be sustainable. And if it's not, then I'm going to keep readjusting my business model to something that works.
Yeah, it wasn't even so much from a perspective of eBay Lives being a sustainable business model that would be successful for eBay and others who would join it in the future. It was even more a point around your time and how you want to distribute it and grow your business. And so, because the thing, and I said something similar to Nick when he was on, the thing that really, I guess, concerns me, if I was going to say, hey, do I want to start doing something similar, is that if you are not running your live personally, unless you hire somebody else, which we can get into that next, but then it just doesn't happen. And you immediately lose that revenue 100%. It's gone. And so it being such a dependent part of you being live and present in that moment to make the sale, whereas the other sales are somewhat passive once you have the listings and they're active. For example, if it's just a standard eBay sale. So it was more from that perspective. If you felt like you could keep the pace you're going at while juggling some of the other sales channels.
Oh yeah, okay, I understand. I'm sorry if I misunderstood that one, but thank you for clarifying. But yeah, so you're definitely right, and that's something that I gotta take into consideration, not putting all the eggs in one basket, so to speak, making sure that all the
Hmm.
sales are not coming about as a result of the eBay lives, making sure to diversify the sales channels is what I say. So I have sales that I do outside of my eBay live streams, my standard eBay marketplace store, my standard Shopify store, TCG player.
Hmm.
There's I sell on TikTok as well. So I mean,
Hmm.
there's other streams in place, but yeah, you're right. If there were something to come up and I were to lose my capability to stream, whether it be like illness or something like that, it is a good
Right.
chunk of income that I would be missing out on. So no doubt about that. But yeah, I think it just kind of highlights the importance of not depending solely on that one sales channel, but making sure you have
Yeah.
others set in place. And it was something like you said. I started off like really like 5 days a week, and kind of
Mhm.
discovered that in order to do this, I'm going to have to be able to focus on longevity instead of I
Right.
don't know, just cranking out streams every day. I felt like I would probably be more prone to burnout. And at that point, if I did get burnout and I did not want to stream every day, then that's something that I would have to take into consideration. So I kind of scaled back at that point and started doing it. I do three official streams a week now on
Okay.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And then like during times when there's a bigger release, I'll kind of ratchet up the streams. I'll add one or two in if it's like a new popular set. And I kind of that's the approach that I've had so far. But
Okay.
I've only been doing it for like a year now, so it's a constant bit of adjustment. But you, like you said, I mean, it is just a ton of work. It's a lot of work behind the
Mm.
scenes, more so than you would think. I'm kind of curious to see how Dan approaches it. I know he's already got a lot on his plate, so once if he ever does get integrated with the eBay Lives, to see how that goes for him, and how he reacts to the level of workload that you don't see immediately from the streaming aspect. But there's a lot that goes into it as
Right.
far as, I mean, just today I woke up at 10 a.m. I was streaming until 3:30 a.m., ripping packs until 3:30 a.m. last night. And
Jesus.
I went to bed at about almost 4 a.m. I woke up at 10 a.m. I started packing orders right away. I packed my last order at about 4:10 and rushed to the post office to get all the orders shipped out before they closed at 4:30. And yeah, that's how my days go. I
So
stream
you
one
packed
day.
orders for 6 hours?
Yep,
Wow. From one
that's
day.
how it's been going. It's one day is set up for getting things
Okay.
ready for the stream, going live and streaming until wee hours of the morning, and then the next day is just getting the orders out the door, and then wash, rinse, and repeat.
Mm, and I do see the questions there, Ryan. I'll get you in just a second, buddy. Just hang tight. That really speaks a lot, and I'm glad you shared the kind of behind the scenes a little bit. And I would like to hear also your maybe the integration of sourcing, because the amount of inventory you move through in the course of a year almost is massive. So the time you have to spend sourcing, making sure you have good inventory, you're keeping things fresh. What does that look like in terms of the lives specifically, not so much the store as a whole or your business as a whole, but more the lives?
Yeah, so there's different areas that I would have to source: raw singles, graded cards,
Hmm.
sealed product. I like to do
Hmm.
English sealed product, Japanese sealed product. So I've got, already mentioned it before, but I have two English distributors that I get all of my English sealed product from, and then I've got a Japanese supplier that supplies all the modern sealed product, and then also has a good bit of raw singles that I can purchase in just pretty high quantities at a time, so I don't have to spend a
Hmm.
whole lot of time
That's good.
sourcing individual cards, and then cards that I get to. So I'll source those and send those off and get them graded. So those are the ways that I source raw singles and sealed product, and then just looking for different, like, raw singles with collections. I mean, this has only happened one time.
Hmm.
I just posted a YouTube video of it, but I purchased like a collection that was almost
I
3,100
saw that.
cards. So
Yeah, that was massive.
obviously that would be an optimal
Some
way
good
to
stuff
go
too.
about sourcing, but those things just don't grow on trees or come up every
You're right.
every week. And I mean, I was very fortunate to even stumble across that one. So I mean, I can't really consider that a primary source
Well,
or method of
that
sourcing.
was one that was you were helping middleman for Jake, right? And then
Yeah,
Jake ended up passing on it, right? So then, yeah.
yeah, Jake
Yeah.
Pokenomics. I was going to work with him and maybe split it, or maybe just take a portion just to help it get to him, because the seller was here close by and about an hour away
Okay.
from me, and Jake is obviously up north. So I
Right.
was going to meet with the seller and kind of take care of a little bit of the legwork, but Jake ended up passing on it and offered to
Yeah.
he just like, if you want this guy, or if you want the collection, you can go for it. I was like, all right, thank you so much. Yeah, shout out Jake Tokenomics for throwing that my way.
Yeah, that was a beautiful collection. A lot of great cards. I fully agree there, Chef. It was quite the pickup. And when you talked about the math on it, it worked out really well. I mean, the cost per card, what you ended up making per card, and I think it's actually a good segue a little bit into one of the things I was curious about. If you looked at this, and I'm sure you are a numbers guy given your background, what do you see as your average, profit margins across all the aspects of your business? What do you typically see as your profit margin?
Man, they're all over the place.
I
I
know they
don't
are.
have an
Yeah.
actual I mean, I'm sure you've
Yeah.
noticed that too. I mean, you have some that sell for just a slight profit margin, but then you have some
Yeah.
graded cards that come back, you hit a black label on 300% profit margin. Like, I mean, how do you even? If you were to
Start
take all of
skewing the
the
numbers.
margins and
Yeah.
combine them, I think I'm sitting in the vicinity of like 13 to 18%. But
Okay.
it would take a
That's
lot
healthy.
of rigorous calculations and going back with the accounting to even come up with that value. But I'm pretty sure that's where I have my profit margin. That's net profit though. That's not like gross profit. That is the
Right.
net
Right.
bottom line.
Right. Because yeah, it is difficult. And I don't know because your sales channels all sit somewhat independently, right? So when you look at, okay, what are my orders from this sales channel? You don't have them all integrated into one place. So you have to go to eBay for eBay. So you have to go to Shopify for Shopify, so forth, right? So yeah, to
Yes.
bring that together for you would be quite difficult. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm actually starting to learn that there are bits of software that you can integrate all the channels into
Mhm.
one to have one big inventory and kind of send a
Yeah.
spread shot into each one of the set sales channels. But that's something that I'm like actively learning right now. So
Yeah, I've said it before, not to beat the dead horse on my side. So sorry for anybody who's tired of hearing it, but I've definitely used Binder POS for quite some time now, and for sealed, and unfortunately, they don't touch Japanese yet. I was talking to my rep yesterday. They're working on it. It's in discovery phase, but they don't have an ETA on when it's going to be released. But from an English perspective, at least, the sealed, the singles, they did have a break in functionality around graded, unfortunately, about 2 months ago. But it was graded pretty much anything else in any other category. As long as you built it and then set up the integration between whichever sales channels you have, it would then push with a single setting of your inventory within Binder. And the really nice thing about that is then every order placed through eBay or placed through TCG Player or Shopify, it all comes back into Shopify. Everything's centralized. Then you see all your orders in one place, and you then redistribute fulfillment from there. So that works out really well, especially when you want to start looking at some data, analyzing your profit margins. It makes it a lot easier to have everything in a single format. So, yeah, shout out to Binder POS. So they've had some troubles, I will say that, and I've been frustrated with them at times. But overall, it's been great, and they've managed the price updates, especially for singles, which is probably the most important part. If you once you start reaching 10, 20, 30,000 singles on a listings, um, managing prices is not feasible. So they update your prices every 12 hours. So, and you can adjust that, say, okay, I want you to increase it, decrease it, whatever, based on market price by X percent, and not below this floor. And you can set all kinds of rules, but they have all that set up. And so it really takes a lot of the legwork out. So that helps out a lot.
that sounds awesome. I need to check into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's about 2% of a sales transaction is what they charge you for all of that. So
Oh,
it's
okay. Oh, so they
yeah,
charge
it's
per
not bad.
transaction. It's not a subscription based model. Yikes.
They charge you for a subscription. So subscription is $100 per month, and then they charge
Okay.
you on the sales. So as you make a sale, then they would charge you for a percent of that transaction. So,
Okay.
but yeah, yeah. I could be slightly off because it's different per category and per channel. But I think it's something around 2%. So yeah, but it just depends if it fits your model or not. But it's interesting. It's interesting. What softwares were you looking at for managing and centralizing inventory? If it was at Binder.
It's not really managing and centralizing inventory, but there's a new one. If you guys are familiar, if you have done a CGC submission lately,
Mm,
there's a new software they're promoting there with the CGC website. It's called Mascot. It takes
mm,
your CGC submission and all of your cards get uploaded into to Mascot, and they're all
mm.
put in there as a listing, so to speak. And you can take all of those and just like press a button, and then all of those listings are
Push it
on
over to
TikTok
eBay.
Shop, and then they're on eBay
Okay.
right away. And I
Nice,
think it's,
nice.
I mean, there's a lot of news that just got dropped today with like the
Yeah,
eBay
PSA.
acquisition and PSA. So I think that's kind of the direction that they're headed. It seemed like that, at least from what I read. I haven't even had a chance to read everything, that all the news that just dropped, but it kind of seems like the same, like they're kind of trying to get like a foot forward. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah,
I'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think eBay bought Golden, and then PSA bought the eBay Vault. Was basically the summary. So we'll see what happens there. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that will be. I'm real curious.
Walrus says, "Question: Can you start over?" Good to see you, Walrus. While we're here at the Walrus's appropriate segue here, let's go ahead and get that question from Ryan. So he says to Weedle, do you recommend people using Whatnot or just stick to eBay and TCG Player?
If you have the time, it's going to be a big time commitment. And the biggest thing about live streaming right now is you're going to have to make sure that you are consistent. Like you want to start out doing it every day. You better be able to go every day if you're going to build up a an audience and be able to retain customers long term. If not every day, then every other day. So if you have that sort of time and you're looking for an additional sales channel, then yeah, absolutely, it's kind of the way of the future, or at least it seems so right now. Maybe it's just like a little bit of a little fad that's gonna like fizzle out, but I don't think it's that way. I think it's here to stay. So if you have a model in place, a sales channel in place that's going well right now, and you're happy with your sales, then you don't really have whole lot of extra time. I would say just stay where you're at. But if you have extra time on your hands and you got a lot of inventory to move, that's another thing, is you got to have a lot of inventory on hand. If you're doing sales
Yeah.
or streaming every day, you're pushing a lot of product. You got to be able to regenerate that inventory pretty quickly. And so if you have that time to invest in it, then yeah, go for it. Send me an application. I might be taking some streamers here pretty soon.
I told you. I told you. Employees, not yet. Not yet. We're hot on the cusp. As I said, to new heights. To new heights. We had another one here. We'll go ahead and take a few from the crowd. Weedle, do you see yourself in the future growing to the point of having your own store and warehouse with employees? And I think this is even a great point, because I also want to talk to you, and you can kind of merge these 2 points together. You're actually also wanting to open up your own LGS store, and talking to Mason, and you kind of backed out of it. You were looking, I think, at a 3-year lease, right around the time of the release of Disney Lorcana. So all these things were right there on the cusp even previously, but now also you've had massive growth with where you've been in the business from the house as well. So maybe speak to a little bit of this, and maybe go back a little bit also to the story on where you were heading down the path of opening up your store and what happened.
Man, you really do your research, huh? How do you know all this? I'm just messing with you. No, you're right. I was thinking about starting my own retail store. I talked with the guy about the landlord, or the little space down the road from me, that I
Yeah,
thought I was
John.
going to
Yeah,
be
I know
able.
John. I'm kidding.
I thought I was going to be able to make it work, but I don't know. The reasons going into it was Lorcana was just about to release, like you said, and I
Mhm.
really wanted to get my foot in the door and have access to that sort of inventory. I was really
Which
looking
you had to
forward
have
to
a
it. I've
store for,
been.
right?
Say what?
You had to have a store for Lorcana. You had to have a
Yeah,
physical store.
it didn't
Yeah.
start out that way. So they were. I
Okay.
actually had pre-orders in as an online exclusive retailer, and then Ravensburger did a pump fake reverse and said, "No, this is going to LGS stores only." And that got under my skin kind of, and I was like, wow,
Mm,
maybe, I mean, this is like a door that's opening that I'm supposed to be going down, and I need to
mm,
like venture and change my shift my focus and to start a local game store. And I was really going for it. But yeah, shout out Mason, having a one-on-one conversation with him, and just, I don't know, hearing about some of the just the daily grind that he goes through, some of the hurdles that he faces, and I don't know, just the outlook on Lorcana itself, whether or not it would be sustainable for at least 3 years, because that was the minimal term for the lease on the store that I was about to or
mm.
potentially about to pick up. So having a conversation with him, I decided to pivot at that point, and I mean, he's just like, man, you can get that from just contact another LGS and just buy it off of them for a few more bucks than you would from a distributor. And I was like, wow, Actually, not even, that's not a bad idea. But
Right. So, all right.
but yeah, I kind of just decided to pivot at that point and decided that the overhead wasn't worth it. The extra headache. I don't know. I actually listened to a lot of what Dan said too, like having to put the potential of having to put more and more hours in, and his little tale of the fisherman sort of thing. I don't know.
Hmm.
Just decided I didn't want to go through that excessive grind to get back to a point where I already was. You know.
And do you think, going back to Zara Larkin's question, do you think you're going to go back to that, given the growth that you're having, given what was
You mean
unfolding for you now?
to a store?
Hmm.
So yeah, I haven't completely overruled it. It's possible in the future that once I build up enough capital, if I'm like looking for areas to if I have like too much capital on hand and I need extra sales channel, like if I build up enough presence with my own local community to where
Hmm.
I can
Yeah.
actually move this product in person as opposed to online, then yeah, I would definitely go for it. But I don't know. This online selling aspect thing, I can do it from my home. It's super convenient. I have no overhead.
Right.
I talk to a financial advisor and I tell them about all that, and it just kind of blows their mind that I have no overhead. And it just seems kind of foolish to open a store
Right.
after talking with these professionals and getting their feedback.
Yeah, I mean, Mason will definitely lay it to you straight. That's for sure. He doesn't hold any punches when he tells you the dark sides of owning the LGS store. But I've heard good stories too. That's for sure. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, we'll see how long this will last for you. But maybe you'll be like, Dan, I need to get rid of a lot of money and just throw it at a store and say, why not? Right.
That's definitely a way to get rid of a lot of money, from what I hear.
Yes, I heard the same. I saw Walrus in here. I think this is back when he was like, "How do you know all that?" He says, "Wonder's a creep. How long before other people see what I see?" Walrus, they all know. They're just okay with it, man. They're just okay with it. It's all good, man. It's all good. All right, man. So we look at the store. You kind of backed out. You've ramped up the online side of things, and I'll speak a little bit to the financials here, of which you've shared publicly. You hit 571,000 last year in gross sales in 2023, man. So first of all, huge congrats. That was a huge outcome from leaving the pharmacy to jumping into that. It had to feel good to, I know that's not net, but still to reach that number in that first year, and now almost coming full circle, running a full year full time, and I'm sure it's going to be much better, especially with the eBay lives running. So first of all, big congrats, happy for you, man. Success is awesome, man.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I did not see myself being at this point 3 years after starting the business, but I mean, doors have been opened along the way, and just kind of, I
Keep
mean,
coming.
had faith to walk through them. And there's been a lot of you guys along the way that have kind of helped me get me to this point. Like going back to my points earlier, like taking little bits of information from all the awesome people in the hobby along the way, and kind of creating my own way with that little bit of information and getting me to where I am today. So yeah, shout out to the hobby, all you guys that
Yep,
have helped me get
I
to where
love
I
it.
am to where I am today, man. It's for real. There's so many little aspects. Like, I mean, you can just take like vending conventions. I mean, that's another, if you look back on the sales profit report from last year, like I had to account for all of that with the taxes that I just filed, like all this cash that I brought in. Like I never knew how to vend. I never had any inspiration to vend. Like I don't, but after watching like some YouTube channels, like I think probably like Flips podcast, like getting a little bit of inspiration and talking to those guys, and then it was actually, yeah, linking up in Orlando Collecticon last 20,
Mhm.
I guess it's 2023 February or
Right.
so,
Yep.
going through and actually meeting those guys for the first time. Like going into that house, and like I was just sitting there like kind of like in disbelief, and like, because like Dan Ketchum, like OSP
Uh-huh.
was there, Ernie was there, Thrifty was there, um just like all those people were there, and I was just like taking a step back, and like Ernie's like, it's like, dude, man, you good, you okay? I was like, man, I'm just, this is kind of
It's a lot.
kind of a mind-blowing experience. Like, I'm used to seeing all these people on TV, like on YouTube, and like these are people that I've looked up to, and I'm just like here in the same room, like chilling with them. It's kind of overwhelming. And he's like, nah, man, they're all cool, man. They're all just like normal people, like all the rest of us, man. Like, they'll talk to you and
Yep.
shit. And so yeah, I mean, I never thought I'd get to a point where I'd be vending conventions and like setting up my own section and renting out tables to other people, but just being able to watch those channels and even find out how to even get my foot in the door and do any of that. I mean, that's where it got me to that point. So shout out to you guys for helping me get to that point.
So, yes, a night of Ernie impressions. Thanks for stopping by, Jake, man. It's good to see you, buddy. While we're on vending for a second, you did a little bit of that. You're gonna do. I think you spoke to more of the vending here, or at least the Collecticons in 2024, more as a buy situation. What is your approach? Are you gonna focus on selling, buying, and then do you see yourself jumping back into vending? Because I know there's been a lot of different opinions on, especially with somebody as a store with your size. I think even Nick said something recently about, I'm making far more money running some of these, lives. Why would I go to Collecticon? So what's your perspective on it now that you've ramped up the business, but then also got to do a little bit of vending along the way?
Yeah, it's definitely changed my perspective with vending, man. You got to take into consideration the amount of legwork that you're gonna put in to get all that inventory to the convention, to set up the tables,
Mm-hmm.
to sit at that booth all day, and you got to determine whether or not the sales are going to be worth it, and not only the sales, but like the net profit, because a lot of the sales from a lot of these the vendors at the conventions are coming from buyouts, and the buyouts are coming at like 75% of not even market, but it's 75% of the alt app. And the alt app is like, it's market like already, and it's minus 10%. So it's like, I don't know, taking into consideration just the overall potential for what I would make at a convention based on, or and then compared to what I would make in like a live stream, and the amount of work that I would put into a live stream, and having the ability to do that all in my at my house. I mean, it doesn't really make sense. And it does, I would say it doesn't make sense for the conventions that are like across the country. So like Dallas, so like
Right.
California, Colorado. If I'm going to fly with 2 suitcases full of 100 pounds of like inventory, I don't know. I
Right.
don't see that being really feasible, or really good option. But if it's something close by that I can drive to, like Orlando, maybe Charlotte,
Right.
I for Charlotte last year, I borrowed my brother's Sprinter van, and I just got a bunch of my sealed inventory that I had in my my
Nice.
storage unit, and I just trucked it all the way up to Charlotte, and ended up selling pretty much all of it. So I think in those
Wow.
sorts of
That's awesome.
circumstances, it's a really good opportunity. It's a really good option. But otherwise, I mean, sales right now at conventions from my previous couple conventions, I mean, the biggest movers are at conventions that you're looking for net profit, or they're like are graded cards, or if you have like actual good sealed product, then it's going to be sealed product. And if it is good sealed product, then it's probably sealed product that you're not going to be able to acquire at a price that you're going to make a profit on. So
Right. Exactly.
so the graded cards, I mean, those were going well for a while. Like Orlando last year, slabs were selling really, really well, but it slowly like trickled down over the course of 2023. And the last couple conventions that I did just kind of determined that like the level of sales on the slabs just wasn't really worth the effort that it took in getting all of the inventory there and setting everything up. So might as well keep all of that around at the crib, and just stream and run it that way and sell it that way. and use the conventions just as a chance to instead just to hang out with the
Connecting.
homies, because that's another thing. Like, it's a good opportunity for these conventions to actually go and hang out with the friends. Like, I took a lot of the conventions last year like really serious. Like Charlotte, I had a whole section of guys that I didn't really even get a whole like opportunity to like to talk to mingle with, because I was so focused on like getting my section like looking really really good and getting all of the boxes displayed, getting all of the boxes like even into the next to the table. So I mean, there's a lot of guys in there that I would have liked to spend a lot more time just like getting to know and talk, but I didn't really get the opportunity. So that's another reason why I've kind of shifted focus towards like to buying some of the conventions that
Yeah.
are going to be coming up. So having more of a chance just to like hang out with the homies, and I don't know if it's good for them. Maybe pick up some of their binders, some of their cards, some of their sealed product if they're looking to move it. If not, then just hang out and have a good time.
All right. Yeah. So 2024 will be a buy-in slash fun time. We'll leave it like that. Yeah.
For
And
sure.
I went. I don't think I got to see you in Charlotte when you came. So I think I was in the section there with Dan Ray for a little bit. Where you weren't there, were you?
And which one in Charlotte?
Yeah, in Charlotte. Were you with Dan and Ray in that whole section? Those two tailed, that kind of power section there.
Yeah, the Power L.
Yeah.
I was down at the bottom of the Power L. I had a whole section down there that was like closest to the concession stand.
Okay. Okay.
So I
So
had like
you're
three
maybe
tables.
you were to the right of Jake.
Um, Trying to think. I was right below
Oh no
Mason.
no.
I was
Okay.
right below
Okay.
Mason and Poke
Okay. All right.
BB and
Yep.
Vandy. Yeah, so
Yep.
Vandy and Poke BB
Okay.
were facing me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I missed you, man. I missed you. Sorry about that. But to your
Oh,
point,
it's
like
all
there
good,
was,
man.
I talked to so many people, but then I missed so many people, and I was there just hanging out, like saying hi. Bought a few things, but even that. But I had the kids, I had the wife, so I didn't really get a chance to mingle too much. But yeah, it was busy, man. It was a busy time.
Oh yeah, I
But
mean,
look forward
that
to
was
it.
the biggest convention last year, like as far as sales, as far as the amount of people. It was also the most fun. So, I mean, it's real easily that we missed each other. So no worries there. It's completely understandable.
We'll make up for it, man. We'll make up for it.
Yeah, for sure, brother.
All
I'm
right.
looking forward.
Taking it back to the numbers for me, Chris. You knocked it out of the park in 2023. What goal did you set for yourself in 2024?
So it's really amping up the live selling aspect. I don't really have a goal per se as far as
Okay.
numbers. Actually I do. So I thought I was gonna break a million in sales in 2023. So the sales number that I gave that you referred to from my eBay, that was only my eBay, but
Right.
I had a good chunk from TCG Player and then from my own Shopify store. Because if you're in with One Piece and you have a Shopify store, that's probably going to be the best way to go about it, because
Mm.
pretty much all you have to do is post on Instagram that you have a One Piece booster box and it's going to sell.
It's
So
gone.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's a good chunk from Shopify, a little bit from TikTok Shop starting them. So yeah, adding up everything from 2023, I didn't quite break a million. So I wanted to make it a
Okay.
point for 2024 to make this the year to do that.
Break the million. All right, man. All right. More power to you. I'm sure you'll do it. I think you'll do it well before you even get to the third quarter of the year. So I think it's gonna be a strong year for you, man.
I
What
appreciate it,
does
man.
the sales distribution look like for you, though? Obviously, I think eBay probably is the heavy hitter for you, but how does everything else distribute? If you had to put percentages on it, is it 60% eBay and then you divided the other 40% up?
It's probably 90% eBay,
Oh,
and
really? Okay.
then maybe 80% eBay, 10% TCG Player, and then 10% all of the rest.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's
Wow.
it's evolved. It's crazy to see how it's evolved, because if this were 2022, like Mercari would have taken a big chunk of that. I did like 60
Mm.
grand worth of sales on Mercari, which is, I mean, it's pretty significant. Like looking back, a lot of people like throw shade on Mercari, but I mean, 60 grand in sales, if I didn't have Mercari, that's pretty significant. So But it's
Totally
crazy
agree.
how it's shifted because Mercari is like a it's like a ghost town right now. Like if you post something on Mercari, like you could probably post like a high class Japanese set for 20 bucks and it'd probably take 2 weeks to sell. I mean, that was before they just implemented their new zero
Mm,
seller fees, but we'll see how that works if that ramps up any sort of traffic as far as buyers to that platform. But yeah, it's crazy to see how the whole landscape has kind of shifted. Like TikTok is now on the scene with their shop. They're obviously getting a
right.
little bit of the market share now. So I mean, each year has had a different pie chart. So
Right. And how would you distribute eBay Live to regular eBay sales out of that
oh,
90%?
so looking back, I mean, I started in June. It's kind of hard to say because there is like a big
Right.
June boom with the Japanese product, and my inventory is primarily Japanese product as far as like graded cards. So if I were to like even ballpark or guesstimate the percentages for 2023, I would probably say it was like 30% eBay Live and then 70% my marketplace store. And now moving
That's
into
probably gonna
this
flip.
year,
Yeah.
it's probably flipped exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably 70% eBay Live and 30% eBay Marketplace store now.
Okay. And since you're managing it, it just dawned on me. Since you're managing all these sales channels right now without like an inventory integrator, you're doing all these listings manually?
So for eBay Live, that's a different entity. But the listings for eBay itself, yeah, I do each one of those pretty much one by one, or I was before I got the mascot software.
Okay.
So
Right.
eBay and
But
then
you're
yeah,
are you
Mercari, I would do
but you
those
if
one
you're
by
grading
one.
with PSA, you would have to do it manually anyways because they don't have the integration yet, right? Because
Right.
you mentioned that's only for CGC.
Only for CGC, right. So all the
Yeah.
PSA slabs, yeah, manually doing one by one. My 10 per day, man.
Gotta get the algorithm, man. Gotta get the algorithm.
Exactly.
I hear you, man. But I mean, it's got to be. Do you double list? Do you list on eBay and Macari for the same slab, or you just pick a platform and list the inventory only on one? Because that's a nightmare if you do multiples.
So you're wanting me to spill all the sauce.
What do you think
So
was
it's
going to
really a
happen here, Chris?
matter it's a matter of not doing a million listings. You take a lesser amount of listings, but more quantity for that listing. So that goes back to
Mm,
that making sure your
active
listing,
listing.
if it
Yeah.
goes to zero, that it doesn't get removed from the platform. So even with graded cards, you can take one listing and list multiple cards there. There's a couple different ways of going about it, and I like to list the certification number for each one as it sells. But there's different ways of going about it. If you want to block the cert number and say it's a stock image and list a quantity of
Mm,
20 PSA 10s, then I mean, all you have to do, that's one listing, and that's 20 different potential sales if you have 20 PSA 10s of that particular card. So that's another, I mean, that was
right.
one of the ways that I was able to list so much inventory without having to do it one by one. But a lot of it I am doing one by one.
Okay. Yeah, man. We gotta get the sauce out, dude. That's get it spicy in here. Get it spicy. But it makes sense. Run, especially when you run multiples. If you're not going to the specificity of per cert number, and you're running 10, 20, 30, 100, whatever the case is of a given slab, then yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, and do you? We'll move on. Not too much more saucy, but I got to poke a little bit. Do you pick and choose where you sell your inventory and which platforms that you might do better? Because you mentioned One Piece is probably better for your Shopify. Do you pick slabs between eBay and Mercari, for example, or how do you kind of strategically decide where your inventory goes?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a little bit of strategy behind it. I try not to put too much thought, but there is a little bit of strategy. Like you said, with One Piece going up to Shopify. Of course, I have started to diversify that too. I'm actually starting to incorporate more of the One Piece into the live streams now
Mm,
because I don't know if it's the Netflix series or just the fact that One Piece is taken off with all of the market value of the sealed boxes and the cards, but it's
Right.
starting to be more popular on the eBay live streams. People ask about it more, and so I've kind of shifted more of the inventory to sell on eBay Live as opposed to Shopify. That's more of a recent thing. But when I
Okay.
first started obtaining One Piece from my distributor, nobody on eBay Live would even buy it, even at like retail. So that
Mm,
was what originally got me selling on the Shopify platform. So it's kind of like feeling out each product as I go along and seeing where the
okay.
sales make sense, where they're actually gonna sell. And Shopify ended up being the place for One Piece, and then for graded cards, the easiest way to go about it for me is eBay.
Okay.
And so I don't know, it's just a matter of weighing out which is going to require the least amount of effort but obtain the most profit.
Probably TikTok would sit with sealed, I would imagine.
So I avoid TikTok with the sealed product because their seller protections are pretty slim. And
Mm,
I kind of learned that the hard way. But I don't sell any sealed product on TikTok, and I try to keep the graded cards lower than $100 because
mm,
there's still a bit of adjustment that they need to get in place with their seller protections. And until they do, I'm not really willing to take the risk of selling any graded cards higher than $100. I keep those all on eBay right now.
you got burned once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there was
Well,
I sold a Charizard V-Star Rainbow V-Star from Brilliant Stars CGC Gem Mint 10 for 150 bucks on TikTok Shop. And it showed as delivered, and the buyer opened a case saying that the product was never delivered, even though it showed delivered by TikTok Shops by their provided shipping service. And
mm,
the buyer opened a case and got refunded and deducted that from my payout, and I couldn't appeal
mm.
it or anything. So
Yeah, their appeal process was pretty crappy in the beginning. I just walked away from it. It was so bad I couldn't deal with it. I said, "No, I'm I'm not wasting my time here. If this is going to be this bad, and I have to chase you down to explain your systems to you." They were telling me to take screenshots of this. I'm like, why don't I take screenshots of your platform? You should know what's inside of it. So I'm not doing all this. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I'll wait for it to mature a little bit before I look back at it.
yeah, I was just
Speaking
saying
of getting burned, go ahead. I'm sorry.
went through all that, like the submitting the photos and photos of the inventory and all that. Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. Um, but speaking of getting burned, I want to hear maybe a little bit about these stories, and if you have more than one, feel free to share. Stories like where you got dropped with 30 grand of Digimon on your doorstep, and you had to eat that. Because I know I was just talking to the same rep I mentioned a few minutes ago with TCG player. She's like, "What do you have distribution?" So no, I'm making a conscious choice not to get distribution right now. I said the relationship for me feels very unhealthy in many ways, and I'm not the way it's working right now for my business is perfectly fine. I'm not forced to take such a jump, and the capital tie up that I would have to store non-sellable product or take it at a loss. And this Digimon is just one example of that unhealthy relationship, dropping 30 grand on your doorstep and having to deal with that, a year later or whatever the case was. What's it like for you in terms of the distributor agreements? Obviously, you built up your purchase power now, so you probably got a little bit of reputation. But how does that work for you nowadays? Are you still having to take a lot of undesirable inventory just to get what you want, or has that relationship gotten better?
So it started out having to put a whole lot of pre-orders in up front, only getting a certain percent of those pre-orders allocated to you or to me. And that worked out okay because I kind of figured out the system pretty quickly, and I didn't put too much pre-orders in that I wouldn't be able to take on if they were to send me the whole pre-order, except
Mm,
with Digimon. That was the one mistake I made, and
Okay.
kind of bit off more than I could chew because I don't know if they put that model in place to like to get you to put more pre-orders in.
Mhm.
But I don't know that I found out when I got my distributor that like I order 300 boxes and I get 100. I order 400 boxes and I get 150. And so it's like it kind of gives you that little feeling like, oh, well, maybe I should just jack up each of the pre-orders and then yeah,
They
I'll
took
end up
you.
with a little bit
Yeah.
more on release. And so that's obviously not the way you should go about it. And I had to learn the hard way with Digimon, but I mean, it was a lesson learned. But that's one of the things that you have to take into consideration if you are going to get a an English distributor and keep that business relation with them going strong. Um, if they come to you and say that you're expected to take this allocation that you put in for a pre-order, then you better be willing to accept
Good.
it. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they'll
so I
cut
did
you on
that
the
with
next run. Yeah.
yeah, did that with Digimon, and then it hasn't really bit me in the butt with anything as far as Pokemon is concerned. Pokemon, you can still, even if it's a modern set release, and then you have to cut your losses. I mean, it's nothing too bad right now with my current sales channels that I've
Okay.
been like kind of screwed over, so to speak, with anything Pokemon related.
Do they still force you to take a lot of battle decks and, things that you just wouldn't normally buy in order to
Never
get boost
forced.
profits?
It would help me get more product, more of the desired product if I were to take more of that, but they
Mm,
never force you to buy it.
okay. Okay. All right. Well, there was a comment you made once about, having to store some of your inventory that's not yet appreciated in a storage. Um, and I'm sure that doesn't get smaller. That continues to grow because you're probably still waiting for quite some time. Probably sitting on a little sword and shield, and then probably a decent amount of scarlet and violet. Um, how much is going to be too much in that space? Because continuing to pile the inventory into the storage locker, waiting for that to hit at least the profit margins that you were looked to make from it. At what point do you say, "Man, I have $500,000 in capital here"? I'm just using a random number, but at what point do you say, "Okay, look, I got to stop buying this because I can't sell it right now"?
Yeah, I mean, each one individual business is going to have a different level, but for me personally, I don't really load my storage unit up in hopes of like long-term capital gains over time. I mean, I just kind of
Okay.
put what's excess in there, and I have my inventory around me that I use for my eBay lives. Once this inventory around me is depleted, then I'll run to my storage unit and I'll break down
Okay.
some of the
That's it.
products from the unit. And so just I mean, I think having my sales channel, like the live selling, the ability to do that, having that in place has given me the opportunity to
I
to
see.
get all of these products like sold and a little bit quicker than I thought. So I'm not really holding on to a whole lot of it as like investment sort of things.
You know you're an investor, don't lie.
I got a lot of traditional investments,
Yeah.
not a whole lot of TCG investments though. I do speculate on. I love to speculate. I mean, that's one of the biggest funnest things to watch on the YouTube on the hobby is like the
Yeah.
speculations. It's just such a small percentage though. Maybe a little more than 1, 2, maybe 2% of. I mean, my total
Yeah.
inventory that's speculation. So, and a lot of the speculation is like what you see in like the display. So it's not only speculating, but it's used for display
Things you like.
purposes. So
Yeah. It's inventory used for brand and product promotion.
exactly.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I just saw you pop in here, Pokey Kid. Yeah, man, doing much better. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it was a rough after that last live. Yeah, I went down hard, man. You could hear it in my voice, I think, and it took me a week and some change to get back on my feet. So thanks for asking me. Yeah, doing a lot better, feeling much better now. One more thing in the business area I want to talk about, and then we can kind of change topics a little bit. You booked a full section at Card Party. I'm curious what you're looking to do. How are you strategically going to set up? Are you going to just try to pump a lot of sealed? What are you walking in there with? Are you going to treat it like a normal Collecticon? What's been your thought process for Card Party? Is it different?
So originally when I booked that section, I was planning on doing a half a section for myself, and being nearby in Orlando, that's really, really easy to just take my whole
Right.
storage unit, put it in a Sprinter van, and get rid of move a lot of those the sealed product that I have just chilling in that unit. So that was the original intention, but so I got a whole section, and then there's a couple other people that have already claimed the tables, so they're half of that section,
Okay.
even more so. I think I'm down to like 3 tables now. But yeah, the
Mm,
original, and I mean, just to go and hang out. This one will be mostly focused on sales. So card party, I'll have like 3 tables as of right now, but I'm going to be bringing a lot of raw singles, and then a lot of graded
okay.
cards, and then a lot of sealed product, like I said, that have stored in the storage unit. Hopefully, get a chance to move that, and then hopefully get a chance to I don't know, just like brand awareness, bring in
Yep.
some more eyes to the eBay Live presence. I was thinking about if we have some good Wi-Fi, doing like a box break on one of those days. Because
Okay.
I don't know, from what I understand, I didn't do the card party last year, but from what I understand, there's a good healthy bit of foot traffic coming through. So being able to bring some more brand awareness to my eBay Lives, and then just my a Shopify store, anything like that, and then at the same time have a chance to hang out with the homies. That was what I originally went into it. Of course, the
Okay.
Collecticon is 2 weeks prior to. I've differentiated the two at this point. So I'm planning on doing Collecticon as a means of like just hanging out and catching up with the guys, all the people that I haven't seen since the last Collecticon in 2023. So that's going to be all fun, and then Card Party is going to be all business, pretty much.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a good plan. So you pulled a day in buying the whole section and then just selling off the tables to kind of help get the people in there and have a little condensed Pokemon house of fun there. Yeah, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, it's always a
I
whole
love
lot
it.
more fun when you have the section. If you like actually know that the people that are around you, I mean, you can kind of ask one of them to look over your cases while you go and take a break, or you go and grab some food,
Right.
and then just bouncing ideas off each other, what you're bringing, how you're setting up, that sort of thing. I don't know. Collective experiences always makes for a better experience.
I love it. Yeah, man. I'll do one probably. I was telling Chef, I said I was gonna do probably a Collecticon this year, but I wasn't in a rush. Had a lot of changes here at the house. I said, nah, I'll shoot for 2025 instead. So
Have you ever
we'll
been to
see you
one?
then. I've been to it, but I just haven't actually vended. So I'll probably do a
Oh,
vending
okay.
in 2025. Yeah, yeah. But I enjoyed it. It was fun. But it's hectic though. It's a lot of people. A lot of people.
Yeah,
And
it's a lot to take in. It's
when I had the
yeah.
kids there too, it was just like, you know, I'm running. There, one kid's going to one table, one's going to another table. I'm like, okay, this is. So, hold on. So you can't grab those credit cards. Put the binder down. So hold on. It's too much. It's too much. I need a drink. But no, it was good stuff. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I'll definitely have to make some trips so that I can enjoy it maybe more solo as well. So it'll be different.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
I saw your comment, Spicy Boy. That I don't know if I can turn the depth off. I think I can turn off the at least the portrait mode, so I can turn that off if it was messing with you. All right, man. Um, I missed the whole section. I'm gonna go back. So tell me, what is it like for you as Collector Chris? Uh, I know, I know. I have a fellow Lugia lover here, so you got my heart
Really?
already, man. Yeah, that's
Let's
my number one, dude.
go.
That's my number one. That's my creme de la creme of Pokemon.
Really?
So
Heck yeah,
yep,
man.
I got a Lugia collector here, but also Pikachu. I know that you do that as well. Are you just focused on two Pokemon and you just going for every one of them? Are you trying to collect very specific ones? And I think you're also a binder collector. So tell me a little bit, man. I want to hear.
Yeah, so those are the 2 that I kinda focus on, Lugia and Pikachu. I don't know, I just kind of enjoy picking up those, the good ones when I see them, the exclusive Japanese Pikachus. I'm really big fan of. Lugia kind of has a little bit more nostalgia for me because growing up, I was really big into the anime. And I kind of started around the time where they were going into the Johto region, and
Mm.
Lugia was kind of featured on the intro at that point, and kind of captivated me at that point, and I was became my favorite Pokemon. So that's
I
what got
love
me
it.
started on Lugia, and then Pikachu, just the face of the franchise. I feel like if you're going to be a collector and a hobby enthusiast and maybe a business owner someday, you're going to get to a point where you want to start collecting either Pikachu or Charizard. Um, so
Right.
that was one of the reasons that led me to start collecting Pikachu, and then just finding different, I don't know, different artworks along the way, different releases, learning about the different releases for like some of the exclusives from Japan. I just really got really got into it that way and kind of went with it. So built up a Lugia binder. They're not really, I mean, extensive Lugia collection or my Pikachu collection, maybe like 3/4 of one of those 360 page binders at this point. But
Right.
that's the best thing about collecting. It's like just start low and go slow. It's not like a race to get as many. I mean, of course, the phrase is got to catch them all, and maybe I'll get to a point one day where I almost have them all, but I'm not in by any means like racing to get there. Like I let some of my collection go to like some people will come along and they're really looking for a card, and it's the only one I have in my collection, but I know it's readily available, and like, yeah, dude, just yeah, here you go. I mean, if you have something, I'll be happy to take a look and I'll trade you for it. But like, I'm not really in a rush to like get a master Pikachu set or a master Lugia set. Just kind of taken as it comes. And if I learn about a sweet release along the way, then that's probably something that I'll lean towards, or something with sentimental value. Like, so there's other cards that aren't necessarily Lugia or Pikachu that I have in my collection that have a little bit of sentimental value, like my Umbreon, a shiny Umbreon GX full art that I got married
Mm.
in 2022, and me and Mrs. Weedle did our honeymoon in Hawaii, and we were flying.
Nice.
Yeah, so on the plane ride while flying to Hawaii, I brought just a stupid amount of Hidden Fates packs to rip on the plane. If you haven't ever ripped packs on a plane, like if you're looking for
I love
something to
it.
do to kill the time, bring packs to rip on the plane, man. That is a good way to kill that time. So I was
The
ripping
carry-on
Hidden
luggage
Fates.
is full of packs.
Oh, I was probably toppled over with my backpack with those
Dude,
ETBs going in, man. But
that was
yeah,
awesome.
so I pulled that Umbreon GX, and I showed Katie, as my wife. I was like, this is like the most perfect Umbreon I've ever seen. And so I like put it in the safe when we got to our room in Maui, like hoping nobody would steal it, and brought it back and sent it off to CGC. And sure enough, it got a CGC perfect 10 back when CGC was still doing perfect 10s. So I don't know,
Nice.
little cards like that have a little bit of history, a little bit of like sentimentalness. They're like, I don't know, every time I grab it, it kind of takes me back to the plane ride flying over the Pacific into Hawaii for the first time in my life for my honeymoon. And I don't know, it's really special to me like that. And the fact that it ended up grading a perfect 10 by CGC, and then the fact that like CGC no longer does perfect 10s, I don't know, that's it's really special to me.
I love that, man. Great story. I love bringing ETBs on the plane. That's perfect, man. Do you collect anything else? Are you into something outside of TCGs, or is there any other like hobby that you're really into that we
Oh
don't know
yeah.
about?
Well, prior to to Pokemon, I was a big fisherman. So that's
Mm.
I pretty much fish on all my days off, all my free time. But that's kind of taken a back seat now. I moved to Tampa from the coast of Sarasota a couple years, about 3 years ago. So ever since, I've been a little bit further from the water. I haven't been fishing as much,
Mm.
and another reason why I was picking up other hobbies like Pokemon. But yeah, it's pretty much just Pokemon. And then as far as collecting cards, I do a little bit of Final Fantasy. That was another game that I played
Okay.
really,
Yeah.
really heavily growing up. Like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, and 10. Those are huge. So I did get into collecting some of those cards. I do have a few cards in my collection, but that's pretty much it as far as like PC. I mean, I really do like sealed product.
Mm.
So I do have some one piece sealed products that I've kind of held on to, and got some Japanese sealed products. So, but it's all pretty much Pokemon.
Okay. I gotta ask. You don't have a fishing YouTube channel, do you?
No,
Okay,
I do
because
not.
it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because when I was doing my research, I'm looking for Weedles Warehouse on YouTube, and if you scroll down far enough, you actually get into a lot of fishing channels. I'm like, why am I seeing all these fishing channels? I was like,
Really?
wait a minute. Yeah, he's got his own fishing YouTube channel too. I see. I see. The guy,
No.
I questioned myself. I said, "Is this him?" Does it? I looked real close. I said, "No, I don't think so. Unless he grew out his beard, but no, I don't think it's him."
No, that would be sick. I would love to have a YouTube fishing channel, but no. I have posted like
Okay.
some diving, like spear fishing. I have some content on
Oh,
that
cool.
that I posted on my channel, but it's all like private now, so I don't think you would have been able to see
Okay.
that.
No, I don't tell people that I look at their private stuff. I just leave that for unspoken words. Unspoken words. So speaking of content, when are we going to see more of Weedle's Warehouse on YouTube? Is this ever going to come? You said it was going to be February. February
Whenever
came
I
and
get
went.
whenever I figure out how to get my dang camera to work. Took me about half an hour to get into this live stream, man. I'm really still learning how to to make content, to edit, man. That's a whole different beast right there. Like once I had this video that I just spent like hours like doing take after take after take, like how do I edit that and make it something that's more presentable? Because I feel like if you're going to be a relevant content creator, it's got to be something that's like well polished. And
Mm,
I don't know. I have no idea how to do that either. So you either have to be like something that's well polished, or you have to just have really, really good information and have like a personality that's something that's entertaining, something like Rudy Alpha Investments. I mean,
right.
something that just tremendous amount of knowledge and I mean the intelligence to like connect the knowledge to what's going on in the current market. So, I mean, maybe one day I'll get to that point, but I don't really consider myself as having gotten there yet. So, until I do, probably just be dropping little tidbits along the way, just kind of showing you guys what I got going on my side of the hobby and talking about different conventions that I've been to, different live streams that I might have coming up that might be worth checking out. So that's the only vision I have in my head as of right now, but definitely hoping it's going to evolve over time, and I do see it. I do see it evolving over time, but just kind of taking it as it comes slowly.
Ray says, dude's a world class eBay seller, but can't operate a camera.
It's the truth, man. I don't. Yeah, I'm a boomer
Uh,
when it comes to audio and video, man. It's crazy.
well, what we all know, and we all can contest to, and Ernie can back me up here, is you have to just do it. You have to do it bad before you can do it good. So just do it. Just do it. It's okay. Get some editing software, do some really poor edits and weird sounds, and do all the annoying stuff that nobody wants to see, and then eventually you'll tweak that stuff out, and you'll get it just right, man. You get it just right. Well, we hope to see more Weedle content. I'm gonna keep pushing just the same way Oak pushed you in the beginning. You need to do some more, man. We'd love to see it, man. And he didn't do that bad. I mean, I watched it. I wasn't cringing. I wasn't like, oh god, this is another. It wasn't that bad.
I
So
appreciate it.
you might think it is, but it's really not. And to your point, you got good information. You delivered it well. You were able to share your screen and show your video and show some cards and all kinds of different things. So it was good. It was good. I think you even pulled up
I
a spreadsheet a
appreciate
few
that.
times. I was like, yeah, man, yeah.
Yeah, it means a lot coming from you. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
think I might be at a point where I'm starting to get a little bit of information like from distributors and something that might be relevant to people. So I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see if I can continue it going forward. But I'm definitely gonna try. I've already
All right.
made it a point to. I mean, I'm not gonna like get on a set schedule to where like I'm promising a video every week because I don't really have the time for that right now. But what I do have time for, I'm definitely going to be putting out there. I do have a video, an idea of an upcoming video that I
Okay.
hope to be putting out in the next couple weeks. So stay tuned.
Well, that sounds more concrete than most of the things we hear from OSP. So I'll take it. I'll take it. So
Hey,
one
that
of the
man.
stories I would love to hear about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I will just I'll say real quickly that man's a he's one of the hardest working individuals that I know, one of the biggest work ethics. So while he's not releasing content, I do give him respect and I appreciate the work that he's put into to building the eBay live following, the live streams that he does. He there's a reason he is the GOAT. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
shout out, kudos to him.
Yeah. All jokes aside, fully agree. Yeah, we all look up to OSP. He's laid the foundation for many of us to come behind him. So we greatly appreciate that. One of the stories I want to hear about is you mentioned it in kind of this context. You said this was one of your best experiences in the hobby, and that was going to Worlds in Japan. So tell us a little bit about the experience. What was it like for you? What did you get to do and enjoy? Just kind of share that with us.
Yeah, the experience started off pretty I don't know, I was kind of like low key intimidated going into a foreign country, not really knowing how
Mhm.
to speak to anybody, not really knowing how I was going to be able to get around. And yeah, my doubts were they ended up being pretty accurate because I got there and me and my wife were sitting there looking at each other like, how are we even going to get to our hotel? Like using the train system, it's pretty confusing. Like it took us a good solid 2 days to even figure out the transit system there, but we were able to find out different ways through like Google Maps. They actually have a really innovative way of getting around with
Mm,
just like holding your phone up and it'll show you an arrow of where to go and like
mm,
point you to the nearest train station. So we were able to pick it up pretty quickly and ended up not being as intimidating after like 2 days of trekking through the train tracks. But the experience, it was good, man. Like I'd never been to Japan, so that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to go to Japan. I'd never been to any Pokemon World Championship before, not even any like regional events. So it seemed like the stars kind of aligned and everything, all the reasons pointing towards going. My wife was really wanting to go. I wanted to check out the different culture, the different food. So I mean, we decided to go for it, and yeah, it was an incredible experience. We posted up in Tokyo and
nice.
did day trips throughout the course
Okay.
of 2 weeks. We were there for about 14 days and did day trips, like because
Wonderful.
Tokyo itself is just insanely huge. It would take you probably probably like 2 months or so if you wanted to actually post up there and actually check out the whole city. So we did as much as we could for about 2 weeks. Did day trips with like the train system there. Went to a couple different Pokemon centers there in Shibuya and Yokohama, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was incredible. Like the Pokemon company itself just did a really good job of setting up the whole city of of Yokohama to make it all Pokemon themed. Like they had murals going on. They had like Pokemon
Mm.
just plastered all over the ground. If you were to walk through the shopping mall, you would see like a graveler on this like concrete wall just like popping out. It
Oh,
was
that's
like
cool.
it's a really amazing experience. Which was like the art. They had different little murals that you could like take pictures with, but they kind of like I mean, they really like brought the city to life with Pokemon. Had like drone shows going on every night with like different Pokemon appearing in the sky. Like one night we walked out of the hotel and there's this freaking Rayquaza lighting up the sky. I was like, dude, is this real
That's
life? Like
that's
there's
so
just like
cool.
people lined up on the curb, like stopping their cars to get out and like take pictures of Rayquaza as we were like walking by. So like, man, this is something else. So yeah, we posted up there in Yokohama and actually went into Akihabara. My Japanese supplier is pretty close by there in Akihabara, so I contacted him beforehand and set up some deals to pick up some sealed product and some cards well, to that I could purchase while I was there in Japan, and just so I could like meet up with him, say thanks, and kind of try and grow that business relationship. So met up with him, and he showed me around Akihabara, took me and my wife to a couple different card shops there. He didn't really speak a whole lot of English, but it was enough to like get
Okay.
by. And yeah, so we went through and got that whole experience of buying cards from the card shops there in Japan and seeing what all they have as far as like inventory and like comparing prices to how they are in the US. So, and
Right.
going to the different Pokemon centers and learning how scarce the product is there. It's like surprisingly
Mm.
scarce, and only able to buy like 5 different packs of Japanese products. You got to buy them at the register, and they're probably going to be sold out anyway if you don't hit that Pokemon Center before 10 a.m. So that was kind
Mm.
of an eye-opening experience to see like how things were going on with the just the ability to obtain any Japanese Pokemon products, even if you live in Japan. And
Right.
then just having the opportunity of going to the Pokemon World Championship for the first time. Like it was a lottery to even get in the door with a spectator pass, and I didn't. Me or my wife did not. We're not lucky enough to get a spectator
Mm.
pass, so we had to pick one up. Shout out Jacqueline from Pokenomics Discord, JLJ. You guys are probably well familiar with her. She hooked me and my wife up, and with a spectator pass. She went for I think it was like the first day, and she let me buy her pass off of her for the next day. And then yeah, so me and my wife were able to go into the whole event and kind of take it all in, and that was an experience itself. Just being able to witness the venue that they had to put on the World Championship, like the big screens, the big I mean,
Mm.
just the seating area. They had the whole area sectioned off into like areas where you can actually trade, areas to
Yeah.
where you can play the TCG. I posted up in the trading area and met somebody from E4. Was able to trade some of the product that I picked up from my distributor for some pretty awesome Japanese sets like Shining Legends, and got a box of CP6, box of XY, Best of XY, and a couple others that I ended up trading for just like sitting down at a table there. So I mean, that experience itself was pretty awesome. And then watching the trading card game on the live screen, like the winner take home the prize and all of that. And like, it's pretty crazy. Like the big screens they have going up, you can see their hands as they're playing it. Like one guy he was dominating with the Lugia deck at the time, and then ended up getting
Yeah.
his lunch eaten at the last second. It was pretty crazy. Like crowd was going wild, like all over Pokemon TCG. It was, but then they also have the video game aspect. So, and then
Yeah.
Pokemon
Yeah.
Go, a lot of different competitions going on with those aspects of Pokemon as well. So just being able to take all of that in. We didn't get a chance to go out to a lot of the areas of Japan that I wanted to, like Osaka,
Right.
some of the areas that we originally planned on taking like a bullet train to, but just didn't get the opportunity. So definitely going to make it a point to visit Japan more often. And I mean, now that I have a TCG business and there's a lot of business transactions going on, I mean, counts as a business expense, so that's always a bonus. Hopefully, make it a
Good
point
write
to
off.
do it maybe at least once a year. That's what I hope to going forward, but we'll see.
Okay. You used to actually play when you were younger TCG, right? The TCG game.
I'm not when I was younger, but when I got back into it in
You played a
2020,
little bit.
yeah,
Okay.
I dabbled with it.
Okay.
Played a lot of it online actually. Whenever when we got into that lockdown, I'm not sure
Yeah.
how extensively the lockdown affected you, but there was a lot of businesses around us that shut down. It was pretty much just grocery stores that we were able to go to during that COVID time. So I
Right.
fired up the PC and actually played quite a bit online.
Okay. Yeah. So you watching it there in the worlds, you actually got to really enjoy it, understand the mechanics of it. So it wasn't just a bypass. Oh, that's cool. Keep going. It was actually you got to see it and know what was happening. So yeah,
Oh
that
yeah,
Lugia deck was a pretty strong deck at the end of that 2023 tournament. It was rocking. Um, that one and a few others. But yeah, I had a Lugia deck myself, and it was fun. I enjoyed it.
No, yeah, definitely. And then being able to see the winner take the those prizes, those top 3 prizes get distributed, and they had them on display in the case. Those prizes that everybody's always kind of fiending over,
Yeah.
whether you're a TCG player or a collector. So that was really cool to be able to see those as well.
Were you making your $500,000 offers to buy the trophy cards?
Man, that was something like it was so competitive. Like for those, like I mean, obviously I wouldn't even had a chance to put an offer or anything like that. But even like the promo packs for Worlds, I was hoping that like they would just be like everywhere. I mean, everyone
Right.
that walks in there that's competing, obviously they have them, but I literally I saw like 2. And
Wow.
I mean, it was pretty nuts. Like, yeah, so the amount of people that were trying to scoop those up was obviously insane because
Mm.
I mean, you couldn't really find them unless you knew the right people. I mean, I knew people that had bunches and bunches of them, but I never actually saw them on the actual like the floor on the ground floor there. But
Hmm.
maybe it was just me. Maybe it had poor intel. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was an inside job. We got a serious question here from Ray. How do I get to be as handsome as you? What products do you use, Vito? What products do you use? Hard work
That's a
and sweat.
meme.
Hard work and sweat.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know. I I do
Next question, please.
I do CrossFit. I try to maintain a nice, healthy, balanced lifestyle. I try to eat healthy. I try to make it a point to exercise, even though I probably should be listing. I try to stop during some point of the day and get out and go to a gym
Yeah.
class, and it's like an hour, and make it a point to do that at least 3 or 4 times a week. But I don't know. Other than that, it's I guess genetics and the body that the good Lord gave me.
So get in the gym, Ray. That's all. That's all I heard. Get in the gym and eat good, buddy. Get in the gym. The rest of it, you got what you got, man. You got what you got. Tell me from your perspective, looking at where you see the Pokemon market, and I always love this question because each person sees it slightly differently. Their business model interacts with it. Their enjoyment in the hobby interacts with it differently. How do you see the Pokemon market today? Obviously your business has grown, but do you also, when you look outward and even beyond your business, go to events, talk to other people, engage in different aspects of the hobby, how do you see the growth and maybe the health of the hobby overall?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I only have to I can only see it with the lens and like the amount of time
Mm.
that I've been in the hobby, which has been back to like mid to late 2020. I mean, that's the
Right.
extent of the time that I've been like actively engaged and like keeping up with the market trends and the market prices. So that's really the only data that I have to go off. And that being taking all that into consideration, it's at a pretty low point as far as I mean, from what I mean, other people are going to be like, man, this guy's dusted. Like, because I've been in since 2016, and if you consider this a low point, then you should have been here. I mean, in 2012 or 2008, or I guess that was like one of the biggest low points. But yeah, in the time that I've been in it, I mean, it's pretty low as far as like engagement with I don't know, with the YouTube space, viewership, with I mean the amount of people that come into these Collecticon events. It's like slowly trickled down over over the past year or so with 2023 leading into
Mm.
2024. At least from my experience, some of them may have a little bit of different of an experience, but it seems like it's trickling down. And I don't know, it's been a learning process for me. Like kind of taking these what I see happening in the market and kind of like correlating it with what's going on and with like greater
Mm.
macroeconomic conditions. It's something that I probably shouldn't be doing, like linking um, different like sales data with what's going on with like crypto. Crypto's booming, and like since this is selling. extensively this week. It's probably a result of like the crypto booming. So just little things I probably shouldn't be doing, but I mean, I'm kind of learning along the way. And I don't know, but just gauging the market sentiment in general right now, and the market sentiment from like what I see from people that are purchasing products like from live live streams, and then also just like my eBay marketplace. I mean, compared to this time last year, sales are down, man. They're pretty low. I don't see it as something that's problematic. I think it's just a product of the times. I think it is a product of the greater market conditions. I think the economy, of course, is booming right now. It's doing rather amazing, but I don't know. Just going forward, I mean, I see a point where we get stronger, and I think there's going to be different factors that are going to be taken into consideration, and one of them is going to be like the next big set. We're kind of at this little lag period in Scarlet and Violet where the last biggest set was biggest set I say is Pokemon 151. But then Paladin Fates, that was also pretty big. That's the next biggest set. But the first few like the standard sets for Scarlet and Violet, I mean, they've been pretty weak. And so I'm not sure if that's one of the factors that's leading into like the greater market conditions, but I think something that's gonna definitely help bring it back up to a point where we see more engagement, more sales, is the release of like the next big thing, the next big set, the next big release, whether it be like Unigaba, Charizard, or whatever the next big thing that they're gonna throw at us. I think it's gonna depend on that. And I mean, I'm confident that it will eventually come around. I mean, I'm confident in Pokemon Company as a whole being able to sustain the longevity long term, being able to keep us constantly engaged with what they have coming up next. So, I mean, I don't really think it's something to fret over right now. In fact, I mean, enjoy it. Like, as long as you're in a place where your collection goals are coming together right now, there's more stuff that you can pick up right now as a collector than the past 3 years. Like,
better price.
Things are at an all-time low. A lot of stuff that you can pick up, a lot of ways that you can, if you're approaching it from an investor point of view, there's a lot of ways that you can like get in and increase your positions right now as an investor. Some of these Sword and Shield era products that are about to be bye-bye on the print list, and you can get in right now for a pretty decent price. If that's you, that's not really what I do as far as like investments, but I see some opportunity there if I were a big time investor speculator. Areas that you can get in right now. So, I mean, there's definitely ways that you could take advantage of the current market conditions, even though some might consider them to be rather lackluster. So, I mean, enjoy the downs, and then build yourself, make sure that you're putting yourself in a situation to where once the market does take off, to where you're not looking back and saying, I wish I did this, I wish I did this. Like, think about a year, 2 years down the road, and I don't know if you were whatever you see yourself in 2 years down the road. I mean, make sure you're not at a point where you're looking back and regretting some of the decisions that you could be making right now.
So in this down period, what is it you're buying, Weedle?
Spilling all the sauce tonight, huh?
Welcome to Pokemon Wonder, my friend.
Oh man. Trick or trade booster packs.
Yeah, right.
What am I buying right now? What am I buying? The next whatever I think is going to be selling on my eBay live streams, whatever I think is going to be selling in my eBay store. There's a couple staples that I stick to. As with the Japanese exclusives, I like Japanese exclusive release Pikachus, all the Pokemon centers. I mean, those are obviously staples, like the Yokohamas, Shibuyas, all those awesome Pikachus that I'm really big fan of. Things that I just like that resonate with me because I like Pikachu. I like those exclusive releases. They're at an all-time low. Some of them are right now, not all of them, but the ones that I see that probably have an opportunity to scoop up that I see that are probably at a low price right now. I mean, I'm picking those up. Um,
Mm.
what else am I buying right now? You want me to get specific? I mean, Lost Origin.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
Lost
Yeah.
Origin. I love Lost Origin as a set. It's got 5 different Pikachus, which if you guys aren't
Mm.
aware, it has one more Pikachu than the biggest Sword and Shield era Pikachu set, which was Vivid Voltage. Pikachu is the face of the franchise. Like, if you want me to pump one set, I'm probably gonna pick Lost Origin. It's got
Okay.
Giratina and insanely awesome artwork by Shinji Kanda.
Mhm.
That's also one of the craziest rarities. It's an alt art. So I'm
Okay.
picking up Lost Origin booster box, primarily cases. Um, because I mean, but it also ties into something that I can readily move on eBay Live if I need to. If I get in that situation, like I
Right.
can put that on eBay Live, and that's going to sell in a second. So things
For
like
sure.
that, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not really buying a whole lot right now to speculate on. Anything I'm buying is primarily something that I'm aiming to sell within the next 60 days on eBay Live.
Okay. All right. Fast moving with the eBay lives. It's got to be going. Got to go. We got another one here from Ray. If you go to Worlds, what would you be focusing on to bring back for resale?
So is if it were Tokyo, or I mean if it were Japan, or I mean are you talking about if I go to Hawaii Worlds? If you were to go to
I would
Worlds, what product would you
presume,
focus on?
Hawaii at this point because other one's
Oh,
behind us.
okay. See, like if it were Japan, like you can go through Japan and you can pick up like tons of stuff throughout the city because like different shops. But obviously Hawaii, they're not going to have a whole bunch of like Pokemon TCG stores. But I mean, I'm not even really well versed in this topic here. So I mean, the Paradise Resort promos obviously are going to be a no brainer. It's obviously going to depend on what price point you're able to pick it up for. If it's anything like Japan, you're not going to be able to pick it up for a pretty decent price point. So I mean, even Paradise Resort, if
Mm,
if they're selling for over $1,000 for that dang promo pack, then it's probably not even a pickup, even in Hawaii. So I
very true.
mean, I don't know. To answer your question, Ray, I'm picking up I don't know, I'm picking up a good time with the homies, a good experience in Hawaii, and probably just chilling. Like, I don't know, I'm probably not even really focusing on anything to buy there for resale, man, honestly. Are you going to Hawaii, Ray?
Ray in Hawaii, that'd be awesome.
Are you going to
Not
Hawaii?
myself.
Wonder?
No, no, not going this year, man. This year's gonna be a slow year for us. We're gonna keep it low key, keep it simple. But Ray says he's considering it. He's considering it. So better consider fast, man. Prices aren't getting cheaper. Buy it sooner rather than later. All right, man. Thinking then going back to where you were, we're down kind of in a lull period, and I just want to make a comment there in that if you look at the cycle around Pokemon sets, they tend to do this anyways. The first few sets that come out, not so great. They drop in something kind of midish range to kind of get us hyped up. Sometimes they drop in a banger set. Let's call that 151. But then they typically, fingers crossed, they finish the series off strong, and that usually spikes a lot of I would say interest typically with Pokemon. So I think I saw something in there from Zard Lurking. He said, "Yeah, they're going to do something big." Let's see where it is. Yeah, here it is. He goes, "There's going to be a huge shift in Pokemon, bringing back older popular applications, Shinings, Gold Stars, Alt Arts. Could be awesome. Gym Heroes 2.0. I'm really excited what's going to happen next, and the sky's the limit. And what we do know is that Pokemon has a lot of options in their pocket, but they're the top. They're at the top right now. They're not going to pull them all out. Why would they? They're going to pull out little pieces at a time, just enough to your point to keep us intrigued, to keep us interested, and they're going to hold back what they can, serialized cards and all those other things, for example. They're only going to do a little bit at a time, and I think the end of the Scarlet and Violet era is going to be a really good one. I'm excited to see what happens with that. But I must say, all jokes aside, and I know Scarlet and Violet's had some down periods, but I think every series has. Their artworks have been amazing. the artworks in Scarlet and Violet have just continued to stomp through the roof. They get better and better and better. So I'm really curious to see what they start to do here in the next year or two. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The artwork, man, it's been incredible. Seeing all of these special illustration rares, their
Yeah,
ability to
yeah,
throw those into a 151 related set, man. It's been
it's awesome.
fun. That's a set that hasn't even gotten old. I've ripped about 3,000 packs on live stream, and I still love when somebody puts an
Still
order
seeing
in for
it.
151. I'm like, "Let's go.
Let's
Let's get
do
that
it. Let's do
Blasty
it.
SAR. Let's get that Czar, man.
That's right.
Let's
That's
get some."
Zard. I saw you pull the Zard. It was good. It was a good
Oh,
one. I
yeah.
hadn't
A
pulled it
lot of
myself.
Czars, man.
Weedles should start selling Claude Sire soaps and shampoo. This goes back to the handsome topic, I think. That's good stuff.
Either that or, he says I need to take a bath. My face is probably
Yeah,
looking super greasy now.
that's all right. That's all right. That's just the young luster shining through, man. That's all it is. When you get old like me, your skin's so dry it just soaks up all the sweat and moisture.
No,
It's
it
all right,
just
man.
underscores the fact that I'm just a greasy nerd at heart with a love for cards.
I think we all are, my friend. I'm sweating right now, but that's okay. That's all right. You just can't see it. Just can't see it. I want to jump a little bit on the personal side with you, man, because it's interesting. You don't have as much content out there as I was hoping for, so didn't get quite of the dig I typically get. But I do want to talk a little bit about it. So the first area I want to just hear more about it is your wife. So we obviously went on the honeymoon, but where did you meet your wife? How did you guys get together? And tell us a little bit of the story there. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so I moved back to Tampa in like late 2018, and I actually met her on a co-ed softball team. So one of my
Okay.
buddies, my close buddies that I went to high school with, was on a softball team at the time and invited me to go out. I played baseball my whole life. So I took him up on the
Mm.
opportunity and was real excited to play. And then she was on that same team. And we were actually on that team for about a little over a year, almost probably closer to 2 years before I actually, that was probably more like a year before I actually asked her out on a date. And yeah, so I asked her out, finally mustered up the stones. One minute I'm sliding into second base, the next minute I'm sliding into her DMs. And so decided to ask her out, and
Uh,
things yeah, things kind of took off from there. And year down the road,
okay.
a little more than a year, I asked her to marry me.
Okay. You guys move fast. It must have been a really good relationship to kick it off. What drew you to her? I'm sure it wasn't her batting skills, even though they may be good.
Her love for baseball, her simplicity of heart, her love for Jesus, her
Mm.
her looks. She's beautiful. She's I don't know, man. She's everything I saw myself when I pictured myself settling down with a girl long term. She fits every bit of that picture and more. So what else would I be looking for?
What else can you say, right? One of the things that I picked up on too is I don't know to what degree, and maybe we can touch on that a little bit. But I think her favorite Pokemon was Togepi, if I remember correctly, or at least at some point it was. How does she engage in the hobby with you? Do you guys open packs together? Does she play TCG? Like, what's the engagement with her and you in the hobby?
So she grew up when she was growing up, she had a like her cousins were into Pokemon. She never got into the TCG herself, but she kind of
Okay.
like picked up on it and got familiar with all the Pokemon names just being like around her cousins, hanging around with them because
Mm.
they were super into the TCG. But yeah, so she ended up liking taking a liking for Togepi. So that's her favorite Pokemon. So anytime I'm like ripping packs and I see a Togepi, I'll put that aside if I'm ripping packs for myself. She doesn't know it, but but I do.
You have like 500 row count boxes with Togepi for your wife. So here you go, sweetheart.
Yeah, she doesn't know. One day I'm gonna surprise her with this binder full of Togepis, and she's gonna be like, "What? What? Why are you giving me this? No, she, I mean, she's not like a collector herself.
Okay.
She kind of stays low key, but she's definitely super supportive of everything that I do, whether it be business related or if I'm like hanging out with the friends and getting away to a collecticon just to hang out and enjoy the hobby. She's always supportive of it, no matter what the reason.
Okay. All right. So not necessarily a shared joy of Pokemon, but at least support of it. We'll take that. Better than not. That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and I think you mentioned it with the Pokeflips podcast and this one. Uh, no kids yet, but you guys are thinking about it. Yeah, and that it's allowed you, obviously, to your point at the time on the Pokeflips podcast, to really invest a lot of your time here and grow this business. And even at that point, that you're going to have to scale back and step back a little bit. So when are you guys thinking about starting your family?
We actually just found out that we will be welcoming baby Weedle to the world in late September. So
Congratulations, man! Congratulations.
thank you so much, man. Yeah, it's
Was this the release of this information?
yeah, officially, actually, yeah.
Wow, dude! Congrats, dude! Thanks, man. I really appreciate you sharing it. I didn't expect to put you quite on the spot like that and bust open the champagne here just yet. But congrats, man! Thanks for sharing.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's been really
Baby
exciting.
Will.
It was met with a bit of intimidation, like kind of freaking out at first, but I'm really excited about it now. So yeah, I still got
Okay.
a little bit of time. We got until September to kind of try to attempt to prepare as best I can, but they say you can never be fully prepared. So I just got to kind of take
Yeah.
it as it comes and get ready for a whole bunch of life to hit me in the face at once, you know?
Exactly. It'll teach you all the lessons along the way. Yeah, you won't be ready. So, do you know a boy or girl yet?
Her sister-in-law knows, but we're doing a gender reveal at the end of the month, so we'll find out here in a few weeks.
Okay. Okay, man. I'll check back with you and see what you guys got. Awesome,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Awesome. So that changes a lot of things, and even just in planning and thoughts, and where you invest time and money and effort and energy. What adjustments are you guys already making in preparation?
Oh man, she said I had to get all the sealed products that I have in the extra bedroom and move them out into the storage units. So we're already bumping head.
I
She
was about
said
to
she
say,
wanted to
Pokemon stuff's got to go.
So yeah, that's the biggest
Uh,
adjustment, but it's been fine. I loaded up some stuff and took it into the storage unit the other day, and so I'm willing to make all the adjustments that I need to make. Whatever needs to be done, babe, I'm here for it. I'm trying to help out
yeah,
as much as I can and help her in any way I can. Like stuff around the house. I know it's going to be more so towards like the end of the pregnancy, but I
yeah,
do my best and try and juggle the things that with the business, all the tasks involved with the business, and take some
yeah.
time to help her out as well with like laundry and dishes and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that was the
Really
biggest
good.
adjustment was the room getting. I don't know. I got to find out what to do because yeah, running a business, you need a lot of space, man, and not just space, but like space like nearby. Needs to be
Yeah,
nearby. You need a good amount of area, need a room to put all these like 5-row boxes, all the sealed products. Especially with English, you're dealing with these big bulky boxes, and I mean the storage unit works for decently well, but then you got to travel there to get there, and if it's like a live
yeah.
stream, you're not going to be driving to the dang storage unit to get a pack to rip for somebody on stream. So definitely an adjustment that gonna have to be making here in
Okay.
the next few months, but I'm working at it. And next yeah, I guess she was thinking about painting the nursery walls a neutral color, and I wanted to do a nice Pokemon, maybe a Pikachu theme, but she's not about it, but I'm still trying to convince her.
Don't worry, man. We have all the time in the world to convert our children to Pokemon lovers as they grow up. I'm still investing in my kids, and they're carrying the binders to the car every day on the way to school, and they're trading in the car. And yeah, don't worry, man. We'll get them there.
Dude,
We'll get
that's
them there.
awesome. I can't wait. Hopefully it's something like that in this household, but we'll see.
It only hurts when your 9-year-old son beats you legitimately when you're trying really hard in the TCG game. You're like, huh, yeah, that didn't go as planned. All right, let's play another one. Best out of three. Best out of three.
Wait, your 9-year-old
But,
beats you? Come on, dude.
oh
Get
yeah, dude,
wrecked.
he's good. He's good, dude. And he makes like the weirdest decks. Like he just because he makes like a deck like every week whenever he feels like it. So he just puts all these random things together that I'm not prepared for. There's nothing meta about it. He just sometimes he'll pull a left hook on me and just knock me out. I'm like, all right, you got me, man. You got me.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
yeah.
crazy? Like the level of connectivity that we can have
Mm,
with that generation, even though we're 30 something. Like I have a little nephew that just started picking it up. He's only
yeah.
5, 6 years old. And like I went over to his house the other day and he's going through his binder and I was like, oh, look at that Flareon, man. And he was like, how do you know? How do you know this? The name of this? And I was like, man,
Yeah.
you have no idea. I
Yeah.
can't wait
I
till
know
you
a
get
lot.
older and you
Yeah.
learn about some of these other Pokemon, man. That's gonna be real fun. But yeah, it's crazy. Just like, I mean, now every time I go over there, he's like looking forward to like chatting Pokemon, chatting cards with me, and his dad's sitting there like, what's going on? Like,
What are you guys doing?
there's like this
It's like,
level of connection that I have with like I don't know, it's crazy. But
yeah,
it
I
goes
love it.
I mean, even like even older people, like people that have been around in the TC longer than I have, TCG longer than I have, people across different diversities, ethnicities. If you walk into like any TCG con or Collecticon, man, like the ability to like connect with like people of every different background, ethnicity. Like the guy posted up next to me at TCG con in Tampa, there was like pretty much all speaking Spanish, and like just looking around the area, it's like pretty crazy how this one thing is able to bring so many people together, so many different generations together. It's wild.
Yeah, I love it. It's actually one of my favorite things. It's actually why we started with it. Was connecting with the kids. So my wife and I both do the same thing. We play, we trade, but we do it with the kids. So it's like a whole family event. We do our Pokemon Fridays. We all open packs together. It's a blast, man. So I hope you get to have some of the same joys that I've gotten to enjoy with the family and Pokemon. It's been great. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I hope so too.
All right. So I'm super stoked, man. And if you can just talk to your wife to make sure the baby's born on September 3rd, then I got you, man. I got you.
I'm on the
But
8th. Mine's the 18th, so that's
is it
yeah, that'll be
okay?
interesting. Might have two birthdays that month. We'll see.
All right, all right. September's a good month, man. It's a strong month. It's a strong month. Man. I like it. So congrats on that. Super happy for you, man. It's gonna be a blast. It's really gonna take you to the next level, and it changes you in such a positive way. It's difficult. Don't get me wrong. What is it? Knowing what to do will often be easy, but it's hard. But it definitely changes you for the better. I wouldn't change it for the world. I love every minute of it. Um, but maybe going back to you for just a minute here, and you mentioned it earlier because I'm glad you brought it up. Um, one of the things I often see in the hobby sometimes is, especially when people maybe get attached to some of the wrong aspects, they tend to go all in one space, but then they forget to balance some aspects of their life out, whether that's health, whether that's food, it's relationships with their family or their wife. But you seem like you got a pretty good, stable awareness of what you want to have there, and working out is one of them. So you mentioned you do CrossFit four
Yep.
times a week. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. What is really the driver there? Did you always, because you were in sports, you were just always working out, and you kind of kept the habit? Did you have like a health issue that you say, you know what, I need to get healthier, and I don't want to let this happen again? What was the driver for you to stay healthy?
Just really staying balanced, keeping a nice balanced lifestyle. I started doing
Mm.
CrossFit about like 9 years ago, and
Wow.
it's kind of like
Okay.
a hobby in and of itself. You can kind of
It
see
is.
progress like to where you've come along the way. And I'm somebody who once I pick something up, I just kind of stick with it. Um, I don't know. It's hard for me to let something go. If I pick something up and I become passionate about it, I usually stick with it for the long term. So another reason that I'm kind of confident in my ability to stick with the Pokemon sphere as well. But yeah, just getting the ability to go and get good exercise in, the way that I feel after doing those classes, and I don't know, look good, feel good. I don't necessarily like going to the gym every day. There's some days or most days where I just absolutely hate it. But the way that it makes me feel when I'm walking out the door with a sense of
That's it.
accomplishment,
Yeah.
having a little bit of sense of accomplishment, gotten some work done, and feeling better about that, man, it makes for a better day, and I think it turns me into a better person. I mean, makes me more
Yes.
efficient in my capacity to think, my capacity to function, just to perform the daily things that I need to.
Yeah. Is there a reason you chose CrossFit over lifting weights, cardio, other areas of staying healthy? What was the reason for CrossFit?
So CrossFit, when you go in, they have all of the work set on the board for you. You don't have to make any decisions for like what you're going to do for that day. So if you go into the standard bro gym, and if you're working in, like, I'm doing chest and tries or back and buys today, you kind of get into this pattern of like doing the same thing over and over and over, and you have to, when you walk in the gym, you have to decide which specific exercise you're going to do to target back or buys or whatever. But with CrossFit, it's constantly dynamic, and all of your workload is put on the board for you when you walk in the door, so you don't have to make any decisions. And it's also a nice little community environment. You're in there with like maybe 9 or 10 other people that are kind of going through the struggle with you, and it kind of helps push you past those points where you want to give up and just say, all right, I'm out for the day. I don't really want to work hard today. But the other people there kind of, I don't know, kind of hold you accountable. And then, I don't know, you stick through it and make sure you don't look like a quitter in front of everybody.
Don't be a loser, man. Do another set.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you get to share that with your wife? Does she share some part of the health and the hobby with you?
No, she has her own way of exercising. She's more low key. CrossFit is pretty intense when it comes
It
like
is.
strength lifting, and then cardio, high performance or high intensity interval training, I guess is what they call it. So I tried to get her into it, but she wasn't about it. She just like doing like lesser intense sort of things. But
Okay.
she has her own ways of exercise and more low key things that she does.
Okay. Yeah, CrossFit is no joke, man. It's if you didn't have, first of all, the people that you mentioned that kind of help keep you accountable, but just that ability to go back after having, especially in the very beginning when you're in the first couple of weeks, whew, it's brutal, man. It's brutal. You're so sore. You're like, I do not want to go back to CrossFit. No thanks, man. No thanks. I'm more of a weightlifter
Absolutely.
myself, but
Oh, are
yeah,
you?
yeah, it's brutal. Yeah. I'm in the bro gym, as you called it, but yeah, that's my thing. I usually do. I mix it with cardio a couple days a week because I like to get outside. I want to get vitamin D. I want to run in the sun. Just
Yeah.
get out there and sweat and be in nature. But I do about 5 to 6 days in the gym. I'll add in some cardio, but I do a lot of stretching because I have lower back issues. So I'll do a lot of stretching, kind of yoga as a mix to kind of prepare myself. So. But yeah, I got to stay healthy. If I don't go, I am not the same person. I'm usually not having a great day that day if I don't go to the gym. So I must say that
Absolutely.
I agree with you there. Yeah, it makes you a better person. Fully agree. Fully agree. It's hard for me to size you up as it always is on video and YouTube. Are you like 6 foot? How tall are you?
I'm 5'10". I'm not tall.
5'10". Okay.
I'm
Okay.
mid range.
Yeah, about what? 175.
185. Yeah.
185. Okay. All right. So 5'10", 185. Yeah, you're solid then, man. You're solid. All right. Staying healthy, man. Staying healthy. I like it. I like it.
Trying to.
So one other thing I want to kind of hear some more about from you, Chris, is what was it like for you? Did you have some siblings? I think you mentioned a sibling here earlier in the story, but tell me a little bit about your childhood. What was that like for you?
Yeah. Childhood is really, really busy. I grew up with 2 brothers and 3 sisters, so
Wow.
six
Okay.
kids all in the same house, and kind of like the Brady Bunch, 3 boys, 3 girls, but we're all from the same parents. So it was busy growing up. My mom homeschooled all of us except one of us up until the 7th,
Wow.
8th grade. I was homeschooled, so another reason why I got into Pokemon cards. What else? What else am I gonna do with my free time as a homeschooler? But freaking rip some Pokemon cards.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah,
Baseball, basketball, Pokemon. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was busy growing up. 6 kids, but did a lot of baseball growing up, a lot of sports. In high school, I played football and baseball. And
Mm.
so, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would have a big family as a now that I'm older. Maybe a couple kids, but definitely not 6 kids after
That's it.
witnessing what my parents went through. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure I would be up for it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I say it time and time again, but when you have kids, it's not normal math. It's not 1 + 1 = 2, man. There's an exponent power to it, and it is not easy as you start to add kids to it. But somebody's told me, I had a coworker, well, my wife has a coworker that has like 8 kids, and he says at some point, like, you don't even notice anymore. So, I don't know. Maybe after 5 or 6, I don't know at what point that happens, that it doesn't matter. But I must say, going from 1 to 2, I felt it. I felt it. So I'm not sure. Maybe I just wasn't doing enough reps in the CrossFit gym there, but it was too
So
much
you
for me.
felt it as you felt it get easier or more difficult?
No, it was a lot harder, especially as they get a little bit older and they have their activities. And my
Um,
wife is a full career woman as well, so like we're both very busy. And so running to their after school activities, picking up from school, one has this one has that one, and you're just running all over the place every week during the weekdays. It's just a complete, it feels like you're just running until you die, and just you lay in the bed and just start over again the next day. When it was one, it was a little bit easier. We could take turns. Hey, you can stay home, I'll cook, whatever. But now it's like we're both splitting, and that also kind of separates us sometimes. I was just talking to my wife about that last week. It kind of splits us up a little bit. So now we're not spending as much time together because we can't be in both places. We have to separate. So it's just really strenuous as they get a bit older and they have more activities, and that'll change. When they get even older than this and they're doing their own thing, then we're gonna probably miss these days. But yeah, it's a lot. And then when they're both young, having two that are in diapers or both needing like your full attention. Yeah, let's talk about doing some 3 a.m. ripping packs, and then going changing diapers in between.
so much
you're,
to look
you're you're
forward
gonna
to.
change. Yeah, you're gonna change, man. But it's all great. But it's definitely a change in lifestyle. But you find the balance, and you find the path that you have to find to do what you need to do in life. But yeah, it was a lot harder. It was a lot harder. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it'll be a new season. They say probably a good thing that I'm staying up until 4 in the morning ripping packs because I
Mm.
probably won't be getting any sleep anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. You'll be the one. She'll be tapping you, and you go change the kids' diapers while I'm going to bed. Right. So yeah, and help your wife out. Let her get some rest. That's one of the key things in that early stage. Let her sleep, man. She's gonna need it. It's exhausting for her and going through that early stage process. So anytime you can let her rest and you can just take care, she'll be a happy wife. Happy wife.
Absolutely.
So no 6 kids for you. You're gonna dial it back, maybe two, maybe three, but no more, no more. But things are looking good. Yeah, obviously had the large brother and sister, but were they also younger, older? Where are they lying for
I've
you
got
in terms of
2
family?
I've got an older brother and an older sister, and then a younger brother and 2 younger sisters. So I'm number 3.
Mhm. Okay, okay. And was the gap pretty big?
2 years for each of us.
2 for each. Okay, not too bad.
Mhm.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys were able to bond. You're still able to play together, at least for the majority of the time until probably near the end. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we all stay pretty close too. We're all pretty local within the same area. I think the closest or the furthest is my youngest sister, who's like an hour and a half away in Gainesville. So
Mhm.
the furthest. The rest of us are all pretty local to Tampa, so we can still get together for the holidays. It's really nice being
Nice.
able to get
Nice.
together with everybody. So that'll be nice having them to because I also have a good bit of cousins. They've all had kids now, so being having a chance to take once I start a family, take the kids over there, take them over to the
Yeah.
grandparents, having that little support group with the family. That'll be nice.
Fully agree. Fully agree. And having help locally is such a great thing. Like we didn't have it. So like we didn't have somebody say, "Hey, can you watch the kids for a weekend? Let us go out and do our own thing." So us not having anybody, it was just always us, always us, always us. Ryan
Yeah,
says,
actually,
go ahead.
it's funny because my older brothers, my two brothers, they actually run businesses as well. So it's pretty funny how it's ended up turning out to where like all of us are running businesses at this point. But my little brother actually is in the process of selling his current business and
Mm.
probably going to be getting into another one, but potentially going to be starting up of one asset of the business is like running a vending machine route. So kind
Oh.
of curious to see how that goes and maybe the potential of putting some Pokemon vending machines around town, seeing how that goes.
You might be breaking some licensing there. You might want to check on that with my friend. But that
Oh
would be
yeah,
cool. That would be
yeah, I'll
cool.
make sure to do all the research,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, because I know that I've seen a lot of the Pokemon, supplied vending machines, but I'm not sure if there's third parties or not. But yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be really cool. Or maybe you can hire him to come fulfill some orders for you while you're doing live streams.
Yeah,
Ryan says, once you're done, open up booster box and you immediately go and change the box of diapers. Exactly. Exactly right. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
um, with the I forget now. I just lost. That
The
was
vending
funny.
machine.
Yeah,
You would hire your brother to fulfill orders, and then that's. I think you were gonna interject.
I forget, man. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No worries. No worries. All right, my friend. So we'll bring it in. It's been a fun conversation. Thoroughly enjoy this. As we typically do, we'll ask just a couple of more questions if it's okay with you. I didn't ask. Sorry, I apologize if I've kept you past the time here, but hopefully this doesn't keep you too late. I
No,
know not late for
absolutely,
you,
man.
but late for the podcast. So
Yeah,
really
man. Whatever.
appreciate the time, man. I really enjoyed it. So one of the things here, Chris, is leaving your career, and what you thought was previously your purpose in life can really be a scary place. However, living in your passion can be so much more rewarding. And when you look at this now, because you've traveled down that path at least for a decent amount of time, and you think about those people that are sitting there perhaps in the same steps that you were 3 years ago, or maybe even 4 years ago, and they're thinking, it's just a little thought in their mind and an idea. What if I could do this? What if I could do that? I'm not happy where I'm at. I'm hating my job. What advice would you give that person to try to move through and try to navigate to find that passion and make it something they can enjoy and make money at?
Yeah, the biggest advice I would give would be some advice that somebody gave me, and that was don't stop doing what you're doing currently abruptly. You want to make sure that you're running towards something else as you are running away from what you're currently doing. I think that's how I put it. But yeah, make sure that you're running towards your eventual goal. Go ahead and get it set. Start to get the ball rolling on whatever goal that you have, whatever you see yourself doing. If you're not in a position that you're currently happy right now, like whatever you see yourself doing, ultimately, go ahead and start making it happen. Doing it as a side hustle, side gig. You'll be surprised how quickly it comes together if the passion is really there, if you really have the drive, and you're going to test yourself over time, and you'll find out and prove to yourself whether or not you do have that drive and whether or not you're going to be able to make it happen. I mean, I was doing 40 a lot of minimum of 44, but most of the time it was like 52 hours a week managing a pharmacy and waking up at 6 a.m. every morning to get the orders out the door, to make sure that I still ship orders within one business day and keep my status as a top rated eBay seller, taking a bathroom break to talk to my distributor and make sure I get my orders in for the next Pokemon set that's coming up. So if you're really all about it, make sure that you're plugging away at it right now. You put in the hard work, and you'll see it pay off a lot quicker than you think. And then make sure to surround yourself with a solid community that is that's gonna help get you to where you want to go as well. It's all about the soil, so to speak, that you're in, that you're planting yourself, that you're putting your roots in. A lot of times you can put yourself in the wrong soil, and you'll get choked out by either negativity, by some haters, if you let other people's opinions affect you. So yeah, just make sure that you're rooted in a solid network of friends, of other like-minded individuals that are able to encourage you along the way, maybe give you some information, some little pointers along the way. If we're talking about the Pokemon hobby itself, join a Discord, man. Make sure you're plugged into a solid Discord. Keep your ear to the ground with all the market information, the news. Like, make sure to watch a good bit of YouTube content. Keep your eye on the market, and I mean, they're going to tell you what to do. They'll tell you the moves to make, and if you make the move and you get burned, then you're going to learn a lesson, and it'll be a slow process over time, but it's going to happen a lot quicker than you think, and you'll reach a point where you can ultimately make that decision for yourself, whether you want to take it full time. And as long as you're surrounding yourself with the right individuals, and you've already built yourself enough runway, then you're going to set yourself up to be in the best position to make the moves.
And I like how you put it, because there's a nice transition that can occur there. But it's also a great opportunity to trial and ensure that's the path that you want. So it gives you all those benefits along the way before you make the jump, before you pull the plug, so to speak. And I like how you phrased it, from running away towards something while you're running away from something. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Good advice. Good advice. We have a couple of funny ones here that dropping some advice here as well, here in the chat. Don't get high on your own supply. Yeah, that can burn through some inventory real fast. Open up a couple of booster boxes. Yeah, next thing you know, $2,000 down the drain. I agree with that.
If you're still working full time, I was consuming a lot of my own supply when I first started, especially during lockdown. I was ripping through so many packs, but I mean, as long as you got the income on the side, you got a full-time job, I mean, why not? A lot of this stuff you can actually turn. Not going to get too deep into it.
Well, it's part about enjoying the hobby too, right? So I mean, it's one thing if you're Mason and your livelihood depends on it. You have to pay people's salaries. He's probably not sitting there ripping a bunch of packs for fun in the bathroom, right? So, or on an airplane. But in our case, when you were in the beginning, you had another job. To your point, this was extra. It was the hustle, but you also enjoy what you were doing. So you want to rip some packs. You want to open the new set. You want to enjoy a little bit. Pay $140 and enjoy that ETB. So I do agree there's a balance to be had there. And it just depends on where you're at in the spectrum. And I've always seen that, and we didn't talk about it here today, but we've always seen that question pop up of, okay, well, now does everything inventory for you? And that really speaks to where some of those people are on the scale of the need for money. Back to, again, using Mason as example. So running those stores, having 2 stores, multiple employees, he can't waste, $100 just to rip it for fun. He's got to think about everybody else. If you're running your business from home, you had a good year, got a new set you want to open up, you've earned a booster box. Go for it, enjoy it, rip it, have some fun. So it always kind of depends on where you sit in the spectrum. But yeah, I would agree with you partially there. Walrus with the best advice. He says, just, sign your own cards. PSA, can't tell anyways. Don't know if I would go with that one, Walrus, but thanks anyways for the comment. You guys are great. I really appreciate you hanging out, everybody. It's been a blast. We got one more here for you, my friend. As you know, we always end it this way. One day we're going to leave the hobby, Chris. And when we do, hopefully it's good, it's fun, it's clean. But when you do leave the hobby, what legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Oh man, getting into the deep cuts now, huh? I don't know. I don't think a legacy is something that we can actually visibly see as we're going along. So you just gotta, I mean, making sure that you're in it for the right reasons while you're making the journey along the way, man. Making sure you're keeping a sense of positivity, that you're if you're surrounding yourself with friends, others in the hobby, that you're keeping staying positive, staying encouraging to them. I want to be known as somebody that helped build others up, didn't bring others down, didn't bring negative vibes into the community, was seen as a resource for others, that they knew that they could come to me either for advice or just to hang out, rip some packs. If they were tuning into a live stream, that there was an experience that they knew that they could come and hang out and just get away from the world, unplug from the crap that happens in our daily lives, and just kick up your feet and have some chill vibes with some other people. Maybe watch other people rip packs or rip some packs for themselves, and maintain a nice positive atmosphere that you would enjoy. So I don't know, just keeping that. That's always been my motto going forward, and I think that's what I want to be known as, what I want to be seen as, the legacy that I would want to leave once if I ever do leave the hobby.
I know you joked about it in Pokeflips. You said, hey, you know what? Maybe when I'm 80 here, sitting here selling Pokemon cards, it's going to be even more cool.
Well, yeah,
That's
it's like
experience.
the like talking to my financial advisors, they're like asking me for an age that I like want to retire at, and like I don't really see myself retiring. Like, I mean, this is minimal like intensive workload. I mean, I could see myself being like 70, like putting eBay orders together, getting them out the door. Like, I love doing that. Like, it's I don't know, it's like you said, it comes with the balance. Like, I love doing what I do so much, I have to like kind of pry myself away from it sometimes, because
Yeah.
it starts to encroach on the time that I should be spending like with my wife or with my friends. But I'm having so much fun doing it, I'm like rationalizing it, because it's also work at the same time, and I'm
Right.
providing for my family, but I love it. So I mean, I don't see myself retiring and like sailing off into the sunset, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I think we'll see Weedles Warehouse doing eBay live rips at 75, having a blast. It's going to be having a blast.
I hope so,
Weedle,
man.
man, this has been an absolute blast itself. And I really do deeply appreciate you spending time with us here today. As I always say, it's not something that we can get back, time that is. So you choosing to spend that with us really means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to everybody listening. So thank you, Chris. I deeply appreciate that, sir.
Thank you so much for having me on, man, for the opportunity to even come on and share my experience. I mean, I know I haven't been super transparent with the content that I've had. So you providing me a nice means, a nice way to come out, hang out, and just chat about the hobby in general, about my experience. It's been awesome, man. Thank you so much for having me on board. It's one, I think I think it'll end up being one of the stepping stones I look at along the way, that I look back and help me get to where I'm going. So thank you, man. Thank you for having me on. Thank you so much.
It was,
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. If you guys are still, there's
yeah.
still quite a bit of here. I can't believe it. Quite a few people here, like
I can't either.
feeling at 1:03 in the morning. I don't know why, but
Yeah,
but
I love
thank
it
you
too,
guys
man.
so much. That means a lot to me, and I love you guys a lot. A lot of familiar faces here. I can't wait to see you guys at the next con. And yeah, thank you guys.
Fully agree. Echo everything Chris said. Deeply appreciate everybody. Wish you a great night, guys. Look forward to seeing everybody else on the next one, guys. Thanks much.